computer.
I'm a computer.
I'm a computer, a lean machine. I got the power if you know what I mean. The latest model, new circuits and chips. Get with the program, computers are hip.
Don't you know I'm superior? I'm so much better than you. Simply put, superior. Out with the old, in with the new.
Add and subtract much faster than you. Figuring facts like 2 plus 2. I come equipped with more memory. Know every subject from A to Z.
Don't you know I'm superior? I'm so much better than you. Simply put, superior. Out with the old, in with the new.
Superior. Superior. Simply put, superior.
Don't you know I'm superior? I'm so much better than you. Simply put, superior. Out with the old, in with the new.
Superior.
Who would ever make such a mess?
Only humans.
Some people are just too lazy to take care of it.
All of this mess on the ocean floor could have been avoided if we thought about it more. 'Cause sometimes folks are lazy, and sometimes we forget that if you don't pick up your garbage, this is what we get. And I think there's something that we can do. And the answer's in a song I'll sing for you. The solution to pollution is to think before you act. Reuse, recycle, remember to say it's a beautiful world. Let's keep it that way.
Hit it, boys.
The time has come for you. You must decide, what will you do? Your conscience tells you to. The time has come for you. That little voice inside. If you'll obey, will be your guide. Why would you try to hide from that little voice inside? Though other folks may disagree, you can see easily the path
wheels in my mind begin to turn, but I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel it, hear and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, but from some place even higher. I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see. So much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, but from some.
Hello everyone and welcome to another stream. Today we're going to be watching Whatever I Want. And oh boy, do I want. Good news! One of our favorite creators, hold on, how do I get I gotta get the window capture correct. One of our favorite creators has a brand new video. That's right. Danzy Sings has put out her 9th Trump song! Okay? So, we're gonna watch that. And then... John Doyle, Blaire White, and some other chuds did a debate. And we're gonna watch it, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. So get ready for that, okay? The Otaku X, thanks for the 20-bit, says, oh no, that woman killed the music. Mike Mack says, do some ghost stories. Lord Necro Jay-Z says, don't you normally pick what we watch? Yeah? So? What's, Enreath says, please don't do this to me. The Otaku X says, oh no, that other woman is going to kill the concept of music. And then, I think there was stuff earlier, too. Probably Lannister said, I can finally attend a stream for the first time in a while, and this looks like the best topic to get high to and listen to Hannah try and make sense of. I think that's... Okay, cool. So, let's get into it. I don't have a time for a ton of prelude today, because we do have D&D later, and I recorded with Jake earlier, so I'm running a little behind. So we're just going to get into it. Amori Miku with 200 bits says, thank you for giving me the Danzy content I need when I forget to check her channel in the morning. You're welcome. Kirthan says, we just finished talking about ritualistic child abuse in my class today, so that's fun. Yikes. Okay, so Danzy has a new song. Let's check it out. I like her suit, unironically.
Welcome to Danzy Sings Big Singing channel. This is the 9th Trump song. More Trump songs are coming. Please turn on CC for lyrics. Please share, like, subscribe to support Trump.
Hannah looking 1080p today. I got a new camera recently, so maybe it's that.
Thank you. If our social media accounts were gone, cause we shared pro-Trump posts, and we had to start again. Without me, we ain't get accounts. We thank patriots and free media to be living here today, cause it still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to live in Silicon Valley, where's the home of high-tech giants. And I won't forget Twitter suspended me, cause I posted pro-Trump songs. And I gladly stand up next to freedom and defend her still today. Cause there are no doubt I love this land. God bless Silicon Valley. Thank you. There's the second paragraph. Please share, like, subscribe to support Trump. From Facebook to Google, from LinkedIn, Tesla to Apple, across Golden Gate Bridge, From Stanford to San Francisco.
Phosphophylite, thanks for subscribing with an 8-month streak, says, oh my god, it figures this is what I would jump in on. Hype train time. Don't mind if I do.
That I'm proud to live in Silicon Valley that dominates our daily lives. And I won't forget Facebook suspended me cause I posted pro-Trump songs. And I gladly stand up next to freedom and defend her still today. Cause there
DN Trey, thanks for gifting 2 subs to the community.
God bless Silicon Valley. Thank you. See you next song.
I love her. Nick says, with 24 bits, she has to be parody. She considers California part of America. No Trumper does that. Thank you. See you next song.
Welcome to Dancy Sings Big Singing channel. This is the 9th Trump song. More Trump songs are coming. Please turn on CC for lyrics. Please share, like, subscribe to support Trump.
Hardlock Moses, thanks for the 100 bits. If we get to a level 5 hype train, I'll stop playing Danzy, and I won't play her again for a week.
If our social media accounts were gone,
this has turned into a hostage situation, unfortunately. I'm sorry, this is what had to happen. Keirthan with 200 bits says, go, 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 people, you know what to do.
Without me, we ain't gather counts. We thank patriots and free media to be living here today. Cause it still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to live in Silicon Valley.
Enreith says, what is MeWe and Gab? They're right-wing social media alternatives. Bardlock Moses gifting 5 subs to try and end this nightmare. Death Wife says, I can't believe she missed the opportunity to use God Bless Maga instead. It rhymed. Sushi Mom says, how many bits would it be to never hear her voice again? Thousands worth. Thousands and thousands of dollars. She's just too good. I can't quit her. Wagroad says I'm going to need a longer timeline than a week.
From Facebook to Google, from LinkedIn, Tesla to Apple.
Mr. X8, thanks for subscribing with 3 months. We're reaching level 3 right now, so we might do it. Wait, why is it not rolling over? Oh no, did we break the hype train?
Where's pride in Silicon Valley residents' heart? And it's time we stand and say.
Wagroads, thanks for gifting a sub. Nope, there we go. Level 3 successful.
And I won't forget Facebook suspended me cause I posted pro-Trump songs. And I gladly stand up next to freedom and defend her still
21% to level 4.
Cause there are no doubt.
Bardlock Moses with 1,000 bits. Thank you.
God bless Silicon Valley. Thank you. See you next song.
Well, we gotta switch it up and play a different one of her songs now, right?
Hi, this is the 8th Trump song that Dancy Sings Big Singing channel made. Who President Trump is, made from Sue Thomas' FBI theme song. Who I am, please share, like,
65% of the level 4 hype train. For those who are just getting here, if we get to a level 5 hype train 100%, I will not play Danzy for a week and I will stop this immediately. This is a hostage situation.
Had he not been elected president, he wouldn't be a victim of fake news.
Sinister Owlet, thanks for gifting 2 subs to the community. Otaku X says, my last 40 bits to try and make the torture stop. So Holiday gifting 10 subs to the community.
We're still his biggest fans. Some sometimes he's too straight and he's mouthy, but his family is fans who love him, and we know he's not a typical politician.
All right, we did level 5. Wag Roads with 100 bits, thank you. Xenon Exemer, thank you for subscribing with 6 months. Bardlock Moses says, thank the gods. So 1 week with no Danzy for the level 5. Thank you, everyone. I'm laughing to death, says just a little bit more. No, I made a deal. Is there a cleanse I can give you guys for that? Hold on. TOS should include Danzy. What do we need to do to get more Danzy? 1,000% of the level 5 hype train. I don't know. Does Sausage have something we can watch real quick? Hoi Polloi with 20 bits, thank you. Can you raise that to 1 month without? If you got me to 1,000% of the level 5 hype train, I would stop with Danzy for a month. Deathwife says, look, it's gotta have good tone or the lyrics have to match the tempo. At least give us one. But seriously, okay, for a week. No more Danzy for 7 days, and if I forget, remind me and I'll turn it off. So after the 17th, I can play Danzy again.
BL Fire. I don't really know how to say his name. Shout out to you, baby. And I'm sorry that your grandma died. Rip Grandma! Rip Grandma! You're dead now! It's okay! You're dead. Nothing can hurt you. You're dead. Rip Grandma! Rip Grandma! Rip Grandma! Rip Grandma! Grandma's dead now! Rip Grandma! Rip
What the fuck? I don't. Devious Chills says I hate it. I just hate it.
Fine. If I can't have my shoes, Karen can't have her mom.
That's nice. John! So this is John Martin. Where are you from, John?
I'm from Maine. It's where lobster's from.
Well, it's from the fucking ocean, my dude.
So me.
Okay. What's Ordinary Sausage up to?
Hey there, folks.
And then we'll get to the main event.
And, well...
The Meru-sama. We have a minute and a half left on the hype train, by the way, if anyone cares. We already reached level 5, though, and I really appreciate that. Meru-sama says, hey, chat, today I learned my mom has early onset dementia. I'm conflicted on my feelings. Our relationship isn't great. I'm sorry to hear that. Even when you don't have a good relationship with people in your family, it can be difficult when stuff like that happens, because there's always going to be some sort of emotional, you know, response, even if you wouldn't expect it. So I hope no matter what that you are able to get through it, because that can be really hard. I'm sorry. Lavender Amberly, thank you for 100 bits, and then another 100 bits.
Welcome back. Yes? This episode, I thought, for a change, we'd actually try to make a serious sausage. So the plan here is to, mix pork and kimchi. And if you've never had kimchi before, get ready to fart a hole in your sheets. It's the kimchi
Wag Roads, thanks for gifting a sub to the
And
community.
the first thing we're going to do is cube up our sausage meat. You know, that's looking pretty good right there. I think we're on our way to making some pretty impressive sausages. Today we're gunning for a 5 out of 5.
They don't all have to be as... Some of them are good. He's done 5 out of 5 sausages before. Like, he's done venison sausage and some other more normal ones.
Soy sauce has never heard a single recipe in my life. And of course, sesame oil will make any recipe taste like an instant 5. No, you stay. What in God's name is going on with the grinder? Soy un pendedor. I'm a sausage baby, so why don't you cook me? In 3, 2, 1, let's sausage!
Oh, the noise is not great. Ooh, Aquarium Static says, had a traumatic acid trip on Monday. My brain felt like it went through a paper shredder. I've not done acid, but I've been there with mushrooms, so I feel ya. Try and take it easy for a while. That can be rough if you have a experience like that. One time I did mushrooms and had a bad trip, and I had anxiety. I mean, I've always had anxiety issues, but it spiked my anxiety for like 6 months. It was crazy.
Oh, just the perfect
and I haven't touched them since.
amount of casing. Will it blow? It blew right into my hand. Which reminds me of my One Mark Ruffalos. You know what? These actually look good enough to link. And what a happy sausage family this turned out to be. All right, it's time to make the sausage. There are some things happening in this pan. All right, let's cut one of these sugar dumplings open and see how we did.
In fairness, I did way too many at that time, too. I did what's considered a heroic dose of mushrooms, and I was not prepared for that shit. So, yeah. Don't take that shit lightly, please.
That looks like a pretty tasty sausage. All right, let's go over the tasting table and taste this sausage.
You know, I wish that there was a YouTube channel with a guy that makes sausage out of anything and everything, maybe with a mustache and a voice like Peter Griffin, but sadly no such YouTube channel exists.
Heroic is over 5. I think I did 6 or 6.5 or something like that.
You know, let's get on with tasting this sausage. So here we go. It is incredible. The crunchiness of the kimchi is still there. It's the perfect consistency of a sausage. It's got a good spice to it. So I'm gonna have to give this sausage here a 5 out of 5.
Ooh, Wario.
Queen, start the reactor.
Okay. Alright, it's time for the thing that we are not prepared for and will never be prepared for. This one's actually going to be pretty interesting. Dingo Subman with 800 bits says, "Woo, let's get the train started again." Road to 1,000% for Dan Z. The hype train won't trigger for another 2 hours. I have it set so I can only do a hype train every 2 hours. Anyway, so it's time to get to the video. That's the big thing for today. This one is almost certainly going to go in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. I don't want to get ahead of myself, though. The two people I'm most concerned about here are John Doyle and Blaire White. This is a debate between the people on the right side of the screen and the people on the left side of the screen, and it's about the future of the Republican Party. And people like John and this lady don't like LGBT people, are nationalists, Christians, etc., etc. Those on the left, like Blaire, not quite so much. Of course, Blaire is a trans woman, all stuff like that. I'm not very familiar with, I believe she's called Carlin here on the top left, but I know other people have covered her. She's also kind of chuddy. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I watched a little bit of it earlier, and it was really bad. I do want to put a warning here. Transphobia. There's going to be a decent amount of transphobia in this. So if you can't handle that, if you're a trans individual or someone who just can't deal with that kind of thing, I understand. Warning for this entire segment. Okay? So let's watch this shit show. It's an hour long, almost. It's gonna be bad.
I was the first one to celebrate me being...
This is an edited video, for the record, so I think it was a larger conversation that then got edited down. So it starts with a little bit of a stinger from the middle of the video, like, ooh, this is what's to come, but...
Carlin. Well, I
also-
celebrated that you were banned on Twitter because you repeatedly tweeted that my husband should be deported, Lauren. And
He's
now
an
I'm
illegal alien.
thrilled.
I don't really know how much you know about me, but I'm probably the most vocal anti-children transitioning person on the internet. It's what I'm.
Right.
I'll let you speak.
The best thing you can do for us is grow out your mustache and tell people not to live like you.
Yeah, stuff gets heated in this. Like I said, this gets heated.
There's been a lot of arguments on Twitter recently where people cannot decide what it means to be right-wing or what the future of the party is.
By the way, did I show you guys this? I got my Jordan Peterson book copy.
If you don't know why that's important, well, just look around you at the radical leftism, all the insanity in the culture, and a president who borrowed an election and a country who wonders...
Is that his way of trying to get around YouTube bots? Borrowed an election. Jesus.
What is our future?
Good
And who is
copium.
going to save us from this absolute madness? Well, a lot of people seem to disagree, which is why I brought a panel of guests on to talk about what the future of the right wing looks like and how we win back our country. We can bring them on the screen. I went ahead and I invited on a myriad of people. I have Carlin, he's called Carlin Borisenko.
Well done.
Awesome. Commentator. We also have Lauren Witzke. She ran for Congress in Delaware. We also have Blaire White, YouTuber as well, and John Doyle, YouTuber, and they're all here to answer.
The feedback thing is in the video itself. That's not mine. That's because of the video.
These questions. So let's talk a little bit about this as we get into this. Starting with Lauren, how do you describe yourself politically?
Okay, so I am socially conservative. I've always been economically populist. Economic populism is the future of our party. However, preserving social conservatism within the Republican Party is a real passion of mine. I'm very pro-family. I'm very pro-life. My whole motto
By pro-family, she means she doesn't like gay people.
is I just like to win and save babies. So that's what I do.
I think she lost her election, so I don't know why she's saying she's all about winning.
Awesome. Blaire, go ahead and tell us where you lean politically.
Yeah, every political quiz I've ever taken matches center right, so that's me. I don't have sort of the popular story everyone loves of like, I'm a former liberal, I'm a lifelong Republican, always voted that way. And yeah, that's me. I'm definitely a little bit less socially conservative. And
it's always good to be a sheep voting for the wolf party, you know? I'm sure that'll work out in the long run for everyone.
That's where I land.
John, go ahead.
It's a pretty clear copy-paste between Lauren and myself, I think. Fiscally populist and socially conservative.
Carlin, are you different than them?
Yeah, I'm a little bit different in that, some people say I'm a former liberal. I'm actually a current liberal. I
talked to Jake about her because I'm not overly familiar with her material, but he laughed at that.
I have never stopped being a liberal, even though I did leave the Democratic Party. I politically, on my political compass test, I tend to be right in the center, and I frankly just want common...
She just wants to grill.
...sense people to come up with common sense solutions.
Awesome. So as we get into this, I want to let you know something important. This is the first question we're going to jump into, which is, what is the future of the right wing, right? If we're going to win a war, if we're going to fight the left, we've got to figure out who's on our side. And there's a split of trying to figure out if the future of the right is a conservative, moral, Christian party that is a strong nationalist background, or if it's this big tent party full of liberals, libertarians, disaffected left, etc. Before we jump into that, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor for today. Guys, the world is getting crazy, and I'm telling you, it is not getting easy out there. Not only do you need to have defensive equipment, you need to own guns, but you need to have some way to conceal your guns, to carry them around, which is why I want to tell you about Northwest Retention. Northwest Retention has a few goals that are amazing. Lifestyle, right, enter retention.com, promo code offensive. Okay, guys, so let's jump right into this. So my question is this. As we look to take back the country from the radical left.
I don't know which one of these people is causing the feedback issues, but I hate them. I hate them.
And we seek to make it a stronger place. How are we going to do that? Is it A, by building a stronger, conservative, Christian moral party? Or is it B, building a big tent party of libertarians, the disaffected left, conservatives, etc.?
The disaffected left. I didn't really like all the support for trans people, so I decided to get on board with the party that's closest to fascism. You know, for funsies.
Like with the questions, we'll try to go in the same order. We'll start with Lauren.
Yeah, so, I'm really confused why this is...
Is this cringe or chud? Porque no los dos. Is that correct? Porque no los dos?
The discussion about the future of the right when we have a liberal, actually this is a Democrat, with one good opinion. We also have a transgender on here. I don't really think we should...
Interesting phrasing.
Really confused why this is a discussion about the future of the right when we have a liberal, actually this is a Democrat, with one good opinion. We also have a transgender on here. I don't really think we should be giving a platform to this kind of degeneracy, which is a gateway drug to...
That made John Doyle laugh. Jesus fucking Christ, these people are disgusting. I don't think we should be giving a platform to this degeneracy, end quote. Whoo!
Pedophilia. I absolutely disagree. We were the party of traditional marriage. We were the party that opposed gay marriage. We've always been that party. We've always been the party of family.
I do wonder if this sort of conversation with people on the right makes Blaire have any sort of pause and think, maybe I'm with the bad guys, huh?
One-handedly in 2016 without the LGBTQ vote. We started losing when we started compromising. So I'm really curious why people...
You guys have lost the popular vote in every presidential election since 2004? You guys just suck.
Who are libertarians. I mean, you have a party of freaks who love the free market that you can join. But don't come into our party and try to influence it, because that is how we are losing. And in case you haven't noticed, we are losing. They are now advocating for chemical castrations for children. We're spotlighting transgenderism at CPAC. And I am a traditional Christian conservative. I believe in family. I believe that family is the foundation of everything that this country was founded on. And no, I do not believe that we should be compromising our values and spotlighting a lifestyle that is a gateway drug to pedophilia every single time. And you cannot deny it isn't, because it's here.
You cannot deny it isn't because it's here. You haven't demonstrated any link between transgender individuals and that other thing you just mentioned. What are you talking about?
Blaire, would you respond?
I think that there's a difference between, you spoke sort of to gender ideology, which is definitely rampant on college campuses, definitely taking over culture. I think that's different than just people who, as individuals, may technically be gay, lesbian, bisexual, any of the above. And I think that it's possible to...
Blaire is one of the classic YouTube plaques like I do, although hers is a gold and mine is a silver. I don't see a lot of those old school ones very often anymore.
Fight against gender ideology while holding true that there are going to be people that are just different in life. I definitely am not here to speak to the future of social conservatism, because that's just not my lane. But as far as the party, I think that a big tent is most likely the future. I think that knowing my generation and a lot of people my age, which is mid-20s and Gen Z a little younger, I think that they voted for Trump the first and second time.
Blaire, you're not a Zoomer. Don't speak for Zoomers. I'm pretty sure you're a millennial, okay?
Or just the second time, because...
Oh, hold on. Blaire White, age... Yeah, Blaire and I are almost the exact same age. Blaire, you're not a fucking Zoomer. Stop.
Trump kind of ushered the party into an era of a little more secularism. I don't think he was overtly religious. I think to an extent he was a little performative with religion and with prayer and things like that. And I think that attracted a lot of new voters. And I'm not sure that, going full force religious social conservatism is really the future.
John, can you respond?
I honestly would tend to agree with Blaire there if you're talking from a perspective of you want the right to grow as opposed to shrink. What do you want to do? I think veering away from the hardcore evangelical stuff would probably help. Younger people tend to be less religious overall. I think it's a bad idea to try and go hardcore religious fundamentalist. Otherwise, you're going to turn a lot of people away.
Fun.
Yeah, I think that the concept of a big tent movement is basically this sort of intra-party democracy that prevents us ultimately from being effective at actually wielding power. And this could date back even to what's referred to as the Reagan Coalition, where we tried to unite social conservatives with libertarians, with fiscal conservatives, and then we created something which ultimately didn't last in effect, where we're now on the back foot with things such as gender identity. And even now we're trying it, with pandering to different minority groups,
We're on the back foot because transgender people are allowed to discuss their issues openly in society.
interest groups, which will never give us more than 8% of the vote, for example. So I think that to actually try
8% of the vote is huge, John. 8% of the vote is a deciding factor in the election. When elections are as close as they are in this day and age, 8% of the vote is huge and determines the election.
Something different would be to legitimately establish a strong party with the values that we're nominally in support of and actually wielding the power effectively when we are given the chance, instead of getting into power and then doing nothing.
I know he's talking about black people as a racial group. Like, let's look at the 2020 election results. Like, let's say Trump was really, really popular with African Americans as a demographic, which he was relatively more so than previous Republicans, but still, obviously, much lower than with Democrats. Anyway, what are the votes? Let's see. Joe Biden won with 51% of the vote, and Donald Trump had 46%. So if we're talking about 8% of the population, or at least 8% of the voting public, and you swing that to Trump, he wins. That would have been a deciding factor, John.
And trying to pander to these groups, thinking that we're going to...
It's not about winning or losing in this case. John cares about what he considers the integrity of the party, and he thinks the integrity of the party is tied to, and he won't say this out loud, but it's about pandering to white people and sort of a white nationalism ideology. So even though if they were to change their policy positions and rhetoric to court more non-white voters, he doesn't want to do that because it would be considered compromising what he considers part of his core values, and that is white nationalism.
Going to own the lid.
Christian white nationalism, very specifically.
And take their voting base away from them.
Yeah, Carlin, I'm interested to hear your perspective, because obviously this would be a question that would pertain to you directly, since you admit that you're a liberal and you just registered as a Republican. I mean, give us your thoughts.
I did. Well, the fact of the matter is that MAGA is not a religious movement. MAGA is a political movement. And in order to win elections, you have to win votes. The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump has never cared about gay marriage. It was never something that he was against. Dude hung out at Studio 54. Why would he care? And so I'm on the side of winning too, Lauren. I'm on the side of winning elections. The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump created a Big Tent strategy that brought 10 million more people to him in 2020 than he did in 2016. And if we go back and look at the history of the Republican Party and when they lost the culture war the first time, Ronald Reagan offered a big tent. He said, everyone is welcome in this big tent. He won 2 terms. George H.W. Bush followed him. The Republicans were in control for 12 years until what happened? The moral majorities tried to swoop right in and started legislating Christianity. And that is when they lost the culture war. That is when they started losing voters, when they started trying to legislate their religion the first time around. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise of thereof.
Prohibiting the exercise thereof.
So it protects your right to practice your religion as much as it protects my right to practice mine. This is not a question of religion. If you want to do whatever you want to do in church, that's fine. Go talk to your church elders. Go talk to your deacons. Exclude anyone you want. from your church. But the fact of the matter is that I would really like if the Democrats didn't control everything. And in order for that to happen, we need to win. And that means building the broadest possible coalition of voters that we can. And that's what I think we should do.
Lauren, that's pretty much opposite of what you brought up and what you were saying. Could you please respond to that?
Yeah, so, Donald Trump, he did do things that made the church have to make excuses for him. His Globo Homo initiative.
Hold on.
Things that made the church have to make excuses for him. His Globo Homo initiative. Ended up losing him a significant amount of the Christian vote. And we are the base of this party. We make up a huge portion of this party, a way bigger portion than the libertarian sector of the party, no matter how much they want to tell you. So him making those compromises is probably a big part of why we lost. We lost the House in 2018. In 2017, we had the House, the executive branch, and the Senate, and we still failed on conservative issues. They refused to stand up for life. They still passed a budget that actually made us forced Christian taxpayers to fund Planned Parenthood.
Okay. I don't want my taxes going to wars in the Middle East, but my taxes go there anyway. How do you think this works?
Every vote lost on social conservatism is, we are significantly more. We are the party that was established in traditional marriage. So I'm curious when the liberals and the transgenders decided that it was their duty to come and infiltrate our party to make it successful, because we were doing just fine. We started actually losing votes when we started pandering. We lost a significant amount of our base, enough to make an effect and make a dent into the electorate by compromising our values. The only way forward is to stay true to our values that we've always been and established on and win with them. It's the weakness. People value strength.
You're not going to win on a platform of being anti-gay marriage in 2021. Bad call.
Over anything else. And when we started showing weakness and compromise, that's when we started losing. And I don't think that is something that we should continue. I think that we should remain the party of Jesus Christ, the party of life, the party that celebrates family and makes it as easy as possible for Americans to get married and have children. Why would I celebrate a lifestyle that people can't reproduce? You can't.
Because people's existence isn't entirely to produce children, to produce more children, to produce more children. That's completely circular. People want to enjoy their lives with their loved ones, even if they choose not to have children. That's fine.
Can't reproduce. You just can't. So having families, that is the future of the party. We started losing when we started compromising. Big Tent is a lie.
Lauren, let me jump in there real fast and give Blaire a chance to respond to that.
Sure.
I think the concept of more people infiltrating a party isn't necessarily what has happened. I think that the modern left has shown its hand to such an extent that people are just being extremely turned off by it. Again, being a lifelong Republican voter, I've never had a moment where I entered the party and then had plans to change it from within. I think that every American has a right to vote in any direction that they choose. And I think especially over the next 4 years of the Biden presidency, there's probably going to be a lot more people who are red-pilled, I guess is going to be the term, and wanting to vote, in the opposite direction of how things ended up in November. And I also would say, Trump got the most votes of any sitting president in history. I think that's true, right? That's right. And I think there's a reason for that. I think what I spoke to earlier was the push towards more secularism. And I think that while social conservatives and religious conservatives still voted Trump because it was the right direction, and like you said, they did make a lot of excuses and compromises on their beliefs, I think Trump really, and Trumpism is the future of the party and the future of success. I'm also one of those people that, I don't know, this might have to be edited out for YouTube, but I'm not completely convinced that the election was won by Biden by completely legitimate means.
Oh, Blaire, no! My opinion is already so low. Don't put this through the floor. God damn it, Blaire.
So we can say it was
I think What?
We can say it was borrowed. You can't say
Oh, yeah.
stolen, but you can say the election was borrowed.
Dog whistling it isn't better. People should report this shit to YouTube.
And so even though, yeah, Biden won, I still think Trump is the future of the right in general. So.
Okay, John, why don't you jump in there?
I think that's correct in that Trump is the future of the Republican Party. But what's interesting about that is that during his first campaign and even his second campaign, he really didn't touch on LGBT issues that much. I mean, you know, he held up the flag, I think, at a few events at the advice probably of people like Jared Kushner. But if you look at where his voters actually sit on the political spectrum,
God, they hate Jared Kushner. Gee, I wonder why.
Not the right-wing libertarians that...
Let me be clear. I don't like Jared Kushner either, but I think the reasons I hate Jared Kushner and the reason those people like Jared Kushner are very different.
A lot of big donors would like the party to be. They're actually basically authoritarian in the center. And so if you look at where they poll on issues such as like gay marriage versus traditional marriage or like transgender bathroom issues, like whatever, they're all like very, I guess you'd say authoritative and conservative in that they're in support of traditional and socially conservative policies. And so that's where the momentum in the party is. And so if you're going to come over and vote for Republicans because you agree with their positions on foreign policy or fiscal policy or what have you, that's all in fine. But what we can't do is start to compromise and say that like you can come over here and we're actually going to pander to you as well and give you positions at CPAC. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people that are trying to join the Republican Party or the conservative movement and then bring to light more of these like LGBT issues are basically showing their hand in that they're not actually conservative. And I'm not speaking about you guys specifically, just like the rhetoric that I deal with online, because fundamentally the idea of like LGBT issues is about the enshrinement of total equality, which is fundamentally not a conservative idea.
He said it! He said the thing! Fuck your equality! This is the conservative movement. You expect equal rights? That's completely contradictory to the conservative movement. John just said it! He said the thing out loud! He said it! Equal rights are fundamentally incompatible with the conservative worldview. Great! Great. Cool. Can you shut the fuck up then? People deserve equal rights.
Conservatives believe in hierarchy and natural law and the idea that we can have total equality across the board for different types of relationships or different types of marriage.
That's a complete straw man. That's a complete straw man. No one is talking about like, oh, everything will be exactly equal. We're talking about equal rights under the law, and he's saying like the idea that we can give people equal marriage rights, we did in 2015. What are you talking about?
Marriages, quote unquote, is just fundamentally not a conservative idea. And so if we want to have success in the future as a party, we have to actually like maintain a strong footing on what it actually means to be conservative, which we haven't done in the last 70 years, I'd say.
Yeah, so I want to kind of tweak this a little bit to you, Carlin. As that question that he said, right, is like, this is the question a lot of people ask on the traditional right, is that the right has been defined as being a conservative party, and that has been traditionally what it has been. Now, you say that you identify as a liberal, but you are a Republican. I would say that's more of a new development in the party. I'd say that it is, related to Trumpism, to MAGA, or as Lauren calls it, the Globo Homo movement, which I will spit out my coffee.
Oh my God, these people are so gross. Who's this guy? Slightly offensive? What's his other content? Jesus Christ. I added this guy to the Chud list, like, today because of this video, so...
And she said that. I find all this stuff quite hilarious sometimes.
Yeah, the comment section, they're all misgendering Blaire. I watched some of this live, and the live chat was just as bad. Like, Blaire, no matter how much you try and, like... How do I put this? No matter how much you try and tokenize yourself for these people... They will never accept you because it's not about what you believe, it's about who you are. They do not like trans people.
But with that being said, if we're going to take the big tent party approach, right, and we're going to bring in all of these people that are of different viewpoints like yourself, what is this conservative party conserving? And how is it any different than, let's just say, being a liberal party from 10 years ago?
Well, right now it's not conserving anything because they don't have any power because they lost elections. But I do want to speak to John's point specifically in that he used the magic word, which is pandering. The left panders to the LGBT movement. Trump did advocate for LGBT policies. He did so by appointing the first openly gay member of the cabinet, which the left likes to forget about all the time. He did support this community. He just didn't do it in a way that was pandering. But again, like I'm a liberal because I believe in individual liberty, individual freedom. I'm very concerned with preserving specifically our First Amendment.
Let's be real. If she was actually a liberal, she would not be on this panel. Why would she be on this panel if she was considered a liberal? This is about the future of the Republican Party. It's supposed to be a debate with right-wingers, between right-wingers.
Amendment values and all of the amendments specifically, but the First Amendment's really my jam, which again does not allow for the state to legislate based on one religion's specific values. But if we want to talk about religion, we can talk about a verse from the Bible, which is 1 Timothy 2, verses 1 through 2.
1 Timothy. You don't say 1 Timothy. Jesus Christ.
2, which says, I urge then, first of all, the petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and for those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. And I bring that up because that is the only place in the New
she did the Trump thing. 2 Corinthians.
Testament that really touches on the relationship of Christians to government. And what does it say? It says they should pray for the people in leadership so that they may live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness and holiness. So what does that mean? It means that we should be working on electing a government that allows people to practice whatever religion they want and to live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness and holiness. And the only way that we can do that is by creating a broad coalition of voters who win elections. That's what we should be talking about first and foremost, is how we win elections.
Before we go, I'm going to go to John because John was sort of laughing during that. And so why are you laughing?
I was humored by the biblical substantiation for having more gay people in government. I just thought that was kind of funny. But no, I don't think that, like, even you push back on what I had said about the pandering with, well, Trump appointed these people and he appointed these people. So he was actually, like, serving the interests of the community. It's interesting because, as you noted, the left will still ignore that because they control the narratives and they control the media. And so really, no matter what.
I think it's fine that he appointed first gay cabinet member, or first openly, rather, gay cabinet member. That's fine. That's cool. Who were they? Like, I don't really care one way or another. Even with, like, I forget what it is. It's like assistant health something or other. Like the first trans cabinet member is happening under Biden. And, like, that's cool, but I care more about, like, the individual person's policy positions. I don't really care if someone's gay if they're a chud. Like, the fact that they're gay or trans or whatever is less important to me than the fact that they're a chud or whatever their political beliefs happen to be.
What Trump does to pander to that, however many percent of the, 3% of the voting demographic isn't actually going to serve interests. And I just don't think that the reason Trump didn't win in 2020, assuming the election was totally legitimate, was because he didn't serve the interests of the LGBT community enough. I mean, Trump won in 2016 because of immigration, because of free trade, and because of foreign policy. It wasn't at all because of...
and because Republicans are xenophobic, fasci weirdos.
Social issues as it pertains to, like, the interests of gays and transgenders or what have you. And then as far as the biblical substantiation for it, I mean, it's outlined obviously not only in the Old Testament, but in the New Testament, like, very clearly that sexual immorality, which under the umbrella would be homosexuality, is wrong. But you seem to be alluding to this idea of, like, the individual and in their private home and things like that when you talk about, people living in a free society to do what they want and not, causing any problems. But what's interesting about that is that was the argument that during the movements in the 1960s and 70s, including the sexual revolution, that allowed a lot of this stuff to have a seat at the table, which ultimately would usurp power away from traditional Americans and traditional social conservatives.
By traditional Americans, he means straight white men used to have all the power, and now they only have most of the power.
And I just think that that's basically a myth, because there's really no such thing as a private individual in the privacy of their own home, because you are one.
Conservative?
one person. And so any actions that you take in your house are ultimately going to reflect you and how you conduct yourself in the real world. And then it's also kind of misleading because people don't want to be confided in the privacy of their own home or what have you, because that almost presupposes that it's something to be ashamed of. And people don't like that. And so what happens is then they start taking to the streets and they start having parades and they start to infiltrate education. They start to infiltrate institutions such as the American Psychiatry Association.
The American Psychological Association and the American Medical Association say trans people are valid, and I don't like that, so they must have infiltrated. It can't be that I'm just wrong.
And then, what was it, 2015, June of 2015, the Supreme Court decided that 5 minutes ago, marriage can be between two men, and now we're here on the back foot with it.
Yes, or two women. Interesting that he made it about two men and not two women.
She was like, hey, maybe kids shouldn't be taking prenatal hormones. Or
Can we jump into that?
Wait, Elijah, I want to jump in there because John just fundamentally misrepresented something I said, because I specifically chose 1 Timothy 2.
First, stop. Why are people quoting the Bible if they don't even know how to properly talk about it?
Verse 1 and 2, because it has nothing to do with homosexuality. That's why I specifically chose that passage. It has to do with the relationships Christians have with their government. Now, if we want to talk about how the Bible deals with homosexuality, what I would like to focus on is the fact that there are multiple different arguments for different interpretations of the Bible. I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I do know that there are multiple different interpretations for that. And instead of getting into the nitty-gritty about what it says in that area, I want to focus on the fact that, again, this is an argument for the First Amendment, for religion to not be the dictator of a political movement. If you want to talk about these issues in your church, do talk about them in your church. If you want to exclude people from your church, fine. If you want to exclude gays from getting married in your church, that is a conversation between you and your church elders. This is a conversation about a political movement.
I think that all the arguments against the acceptance of homosexuality within the right are completely secular. It may just so happen to appeal to the base.
The idea that any of the arguments used by Republicans to try and shit on trans people or gay people are fundamentally secular and not deeply rooted in religious homophobia is laughable.
Base of that movement as Christians, but I think that Lauren and I could recite several arguments that are maybe even more compelling from a completely secular perspective.
Let me.
And I hope you'll do it in church.
Let me jump in.
And I think it's really funny that she's quoting scripture as a liberal, thinking that she can use it against us as Christians. It's like, oh, it doesn't apply to me, but maybe it'll work on you. And guess what? It doesn't work. Playing on our Christian compassion and making us be tolerant and acceptive of all this diversity. You know what that's left us with? Transgender pedophiles on Twitter saying that your daughter asked for it. Your little girl isn't actually a princess. She asked for it.
What are you talking about? Is this even related to a real situation, or is she just having weird, vivid daydreams about how scary she thinks trans people are and she's making shit up?
When I abuse her. That is where we're at. So you're throwing scripture at me as a liberal is not going to work. You cannot play the Christian compassion
It's based on a fake quote TERFs have been spreading around. Gotcha.
card on us anymore. We are taking a stand for social conservatism because it matters. Social issues matter. And using God's word and manipulating it to try to get Christians to agree with you is absolutely subversive. And
that's literally the entire history of Christianity, so you should probably just deal with it.
What we're struggling with in our party is subverters. How many kids saw Blaire White?
This part, watch Blaire's reaction to this comment, because I think I described this to Jake as this is the Death Star trench moment, where Luke shoots the missile down the exhaust port and it hits right to the center and destroys the entire Death Star. This comment looks like it emotionally devastates Blaire for some reason. Check this out.
Giving one of her videos. I know Trump is a cash cow. I know people love to talk about him to get their popularity, but how many children saw her and looked at her and said, you know what, she looks really good. I could do that too, and started transitioning. This is about the children. They are coming for our kids, and we are at a point now where we're going to have to take a stand. Will the party go the way of the LGBTQ? Will the party, we already have a transgender man, woman, I don't know, in California running the Federation for Republican Women. Are we going to let this stand, or are we going to choose to stay with the nuclear family and support the nuclear family Because from what I've seen from these LGBTQ activists, such as Richard Renault, who's an absolute pervert, he refuses to stand up for transgenders in the military, against transgenders in the military. He refuses to stand and make a public statement that, hey, men shouldn't be in women's bathrooms. That's because they're bought, sold, and paid for by these LGBT donors who have seen an opportunity. Trump was a cash cow. He was. If you talk about him and if you are had a different look or whatever, people would throw themselves at you because it's like, oh, look how inclusive we are, but we're sacrificing everything. And when it comes down to it, I choose preserving the life of little children who are 15% of them are growing up identifying as LGBTQ and transgender, and we should not be giving a spotlight to.
Okay, people are gay, people are trans, grow up. It's just reality.
Or a platform to people who operate in a lifestyle where 40%
Lifestyle?
of
Is it 1993? Who uses the lifestyle argument anymore?
them end up attempting suicide, eventually.
Oh, the 40% meme, yeah. 40% of transgender people kill themselves because people like you keep making us feel like we shouldn't exist. So stop? Stop it. Get some help.
1 in 4 children growing up struggling with LGBTQ gender dysphoria end up with depression, drug abuse. I think it's 80% of men have a higher risk of HIV. Why would I support that lifestyle? Why would I even make excuses for that lifestyle or try to use?
I want to give Blaire a chance to respond to your statements real fast, because I know Blaire has a hard out. We haven't heard from Blaire. Just on the statement of Lauren said, Lauren is talking about the subversion in the party, the idea that your choice, transitioning.
Before I
just
want to specifically address what Lauren said about children maybe watching my YouTube videos and thinking that they can be like me or transition or whatever. I don't really know how much you know about me, but I'm probably the most vocal anti-children transitioning person on the internet. It's what I'm. Right. I let you speak.
The best thing you can do for us is grow out your mustache and tell people not to live like you. That is the best thing that you can do to help us, because you are not helping.
Christ love, wafting off Lauren. Christ love.
Go at it, guys.
I think actually to close on the biblical point, the first thing I did want to say is the vindication of Lauren's point comes very clearly.
That's like the meanest shit you could possibly say.
And the fact that we have a liberal on here who is personally a liberal and ideologically a liberal, though feels as though she can manifest that by voting for Republicans. And so I think that really speaks to how far our party has deviated in the last 50 years to where now there are people who are personally liberal who feel as though
Sargon and Tim Pool and Dave Rubin have all described themselves as liberals. The right are just embarrassed to call themselves right-wing or conservatives most of the time. Not even most of the time. A lot of the time. She's not a liberal.
Their views can be reflected by voting for Republicans. And to close on the biblical topic, there's this misconception that Jesus just said that we should be vaguely nice to each other. As far as judgment goes, we are called as Christians not to judge people individually. We cannot look at you and make a moral declaration like you are good or you are bad. That's not our position. However, we are called quite explicitly to judge the actions of people so as to maintain a moral and civilized society.
Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Anyone?
And so we need to keep that social pressure on people, you actually can't behave in this way or that way, and that's how we maintain a civilized and virtuous society. And we are called throughout the Bible to do that quite explicitly.
Okay, Blaire, can you please respond?
All right, well, I never finished my point, so I would just like to say, as I said earlier, whether anyone on this panel likes it or wants to acknowledge it, there's a really huge chunk of LGBT people who are very much against ideas like children transitioning, trans women in biological women's sports, and all of the ideas that are, hot talking points, but they're very real at the same time. So I don't think many kids would look at my YouTube videos and want to do anything like me, because I explicitly have been very known for saying that it's not a glamorous lifestyle, that it's difficult, and that children shouldn't be allowed to transition because it can often be a mistake that really damages their life. So I don't know, I just felt like that was a false premise. And again,
oh boy, Conservapedia's article on the adulterous story. In today's world, Christian churches, including the Roman Catholic Church, are reciting, teaching, and popularizing The pericope de adultera, Latin for the passage of the adulterous woman, set forth from John 7:53, John chapter 7, verse 53 through chapter 8, verse 11. In the story, a mob surrounds a woman to stone her for adultery and ask Jesus what they should do. Jesus is described as writing in the ground and eventually beseeches those who have not sinned to cast the first stone. The crowd then disperses, beginning with the eldest first. This apocryphal apocryphal? Oh no! But it's in the Bible, though. Oh, no. Oh, Conservapedia. Finding any excuse to shit on people they don't like.
I would like to agree with Carlin on the sense.
It wasn't a false premise. Like I said, if you want to help us, tell people not to live like you.
That people would watch my videos and come to that conclusion when I say not to, and I advocate against it. I think that there are a lot of trans people online that you could argue maybe someone looks at their videos, children, and wants to do a certain thing, but I'm very much against it. If anything, people who support children transitioning or kids who want to transition hate me. So I also would like to say
it's normal. That's normal. That's nothing.
I do agree with Carlin in the sense that, you know, if you guys do want to wield power and enact the socially conservative changes that you want, you do have to win elections, and telling people that they don't have a place to vote in your direction or that they don't have a place in your party isn't the way to win elections. So I guess if the topic is the future of the right, I think the future of the right's already settled. It's Trump, and that's not an ideology that tells people they're not allowed to come over. If anything, it's an ideology that welcomes people to come over. So
okay,
it's
so
kind of
before
already over, actually.
Before we jump any further, I want to let you guys know something. It's very important. As you can see, a lot of people in this country disagree right now. We cannot seem to come to common ground on a lot of things, which is why people see the instability in the stock market. We had things like the power grid fail here in Texas, which is why I want to tell you about My Patriot Supply, which you can find at preparewithelijah.com. You know, right now, no matter what you think, bad things can happen. We lost power at my house. The grocery stores got taken for all their food, which is why I really want my followers to know that more than your politics, please take your safety in regard, and please get a personal storage of food that lasts up to many, many years. I think up to 25 years. Absolutely crazy. If you're not well stocked with emergency food and clean water, you need to get started right.
Being a right-winger at this point, at least this level of right-wing, is such a fucking death cult, and you can tell because all the ads on these channels are always gun ads and ads for like apocalypse food supplies. They're so determined to make the world end.
Right away, and the company that I personally recommend is My Patriot Supply, because their 4-week supply of emergency food, yeah, it lasts 25 years. It's crazy, and you can never have to worry again. So please act now and save $70 off this life-saving food, guys. This is really important. Why take the risk of going without food or standing in government food lines? We're talking about the future of the right. Right now, we're losing. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but if you go to preparewithelijah.com today, you can get your emergency food will be shipped quickly and discreetly to your door, so people don't know that you're, I don't know, awesome prepper and you actually prepare for real-world scenarios. Don't pass up the $70 savings. Go to preparewithelijah.com. That's preparewithelijah.com to get your savings and get your food today. Okay, so let's jump into this. You're saying it's the future is this Trumpianism, and John...
This is about as far as I got when I watched it the first time. So I don't know what's going on from here out. Just warning.
Wanted to respond to that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that as we talked about earlier with where the people who voted for Trump, that coalition, sit on the political spectrum, Trump may or may not have touched on this issue either side very much, but they still fundamentally sit at the center economically and authoritatively socially. And so if you look at where those people poll on issues pertaining to, you know, LGBT issues, they're all basically socially conservative. And so maybe Trump didn't come out and support those or be as against those as he should have been to really like wheel those people in. But basically it's ambivalent as far as that's concerned. And so what we do know is that Trump taking time to address those issues, thinking he's going to win those people over, hasn't actually worked. I mean, even his support in 2016 or 2020 with LGBT people was not like statistically significant, nor was there a statistically significant improvement.
Because him holding a flag doesn't mean anything, and most LGBT people see through that shit. His actions told us exactly who he was and is.
And so when any political operation is happening, you know, you have a certain volume of discussion and resources that you can expend on different things. And so if you're going to waste those resources, which it is a waste on people who aren't going to vote for you anyway, because they've basically been brainwashed into hating you because we don't control the narratives and we don't control the institutions.
We're brainwashed into hating you. You guys don't like you said in this discussion you think that it is incongruous with conservative values to give equal rights to LGBT people. You think we need to be brainwashed when you literally just said that you think our existence is incompatible with society? Really?
The place that you want to be pouring those resources into would be on the issues that you won the election based on in the first place, which would be immigration, which would be free trade, and which would be foreign policy. It has very little to do with appealing to different interest groups and hoping that they come over, whether that's black people or gay people or transgender people. These are all things that Jared Kushner lobbied for because he thought that they would be effective in creating the sort of Big Tent movement, which I mean, obviously didn't help him too much throughout the administration, but that also wasn't why he was elected in the first place anyways. Because if you look, even demographically, the people who are most likely to vote for Trump are also most likely to be socially conservative. So it's very clear that if we want to keep Trumpism going, if we want to keep the Trump train going, then the way to do that isn't by appealing to these issues, it's by appealing to the issues that got him into power in the first place. And then when we take the country back, then we can have these other debates once we actually wield power. But right now we're just getting totally crushed, so we don't have time to.
Don't worry, Blaire. We're just gonna take power, and then we'll decide whether or not you should be allowed to exist. But in the meantime, help us get power, Blaire. This won't end badly for you. Don't worry.
Waste resources on anything that hasn't been proven to be effective.
Carlin?
Blaire has her hand up. Blaire has talked less.
I was just going to say, I actually completely agree with John that pandering to minority groups definitely didn't do Trump any favors. I think that the media completely controls the narratives. It doesn't matter. He could save, a little person of color who's also trans out of a burning building and the media would not care. But that's all the more reason I don't think you have to pander. I think you just don't have to try to exclude people. I think that just loses votes. And so, again, it just goes back to you guys can't wield any of this power you say you want to wield if you're not going to win elections. You're just not. And I don't know. I just think it's just kind of silly to go on about this argument that certain people need to be excluded because all it's doing is telling people not to vote for you.
I actually agree with Blaire.
If it keeps going back to we need to win, saying you can't vote for us or you don't have a place in the party I don't see the winning tactic of that. I mean, I don't think that this.
Nope. Hold on. How do I delete a message? You can't say that, Daddy Sume. Come the fuck on, really? Come on, dude. Gross.
The social conservative movement is going to necessarily grow.
That's gonna be another strike. One more and you're no longer a mod. Not cool.
Stronger to the point where you wouldn't need. And also what you said about LGBT votes not having a statistical raise, I believe they did double. Obviously, it's still a small community, but it did double from 2016. So clearly there is a shift happening. I think it was 14% in 2016 and probably 1% every other election before that. And it was 28% in 2020. So yeah, minority groups don't necessarily win elections now. Over time, they very well could.
Can I just...
They definitely tip the scale. Like we said earlier, that 8% that they were talking about earlier would have made the difference in the 2020 election.
Let me move to Lauren.
900,000 votes. Yeah. 900,000 people nationally came out from the LGBTQ community and voted for President Trump. We've done the math.
Which is still way too many. You didn't court nearly any LGBT voters because you continued to rhetorically and policy-wise show us, that you fucking hate us. Of course. It's so weird to me that they're talking like the right has been pandering to the LGBT community when they've actively been trying to either keep us from getting rights or take away rights that we already have for decades? Where is this imaginary world that they live in where the right is pandering to the LGBT community?
It was absolutely not beneficial for all the money we spent when we could have been going after the working class, the white working class, the Christian working class, the
I do agree.
Religiously, we spent way too many resources. So the lie that we have to be a big tent in order to win, and we have to be.
What do I think the overlap of the LGBT Republicans and LGBT rich people are? It's probably pretty big, but it's not in its entirety. I think if it were rich people and white dudes, it would be close to a circle. Because there are working class gay white dudes who have enough of a weird white nationalist streak that, you know.
Inclusive. Like I said, there is a party for free market capitalism and transgenderism and liberalism. That's called the Libertarian Party. Why don't you join them? We do not need you. You are doing nothing but hurting us. You are hurting the Christian vote by creating a platform for yourself saying, this is Trumpism. This is Trumpism. We should have never glorified this in the first place. While we are losing everything on social issues, we lose every single time. We are influencing public
because
opinion
people
matters.
think that people should have the right to do what they want with their own bodies.
And we are influencing our own elected officials to not take a stand on issues such as transgenderism, LGBTQ education, drag queen story hour. They are saying nothing. We have created a cowardly elected class within our party, so it is not helping us. There is absolutely no electoral benefit. There's no social benefit, and if, like I said, if you are a gunslinging, freedom-loving person, absolutely, we'd love to have.
The social benefit would be giving people rights, because that's good.
Have you come vote for us. But should you be having a say in influencing the party? Should you have an opinion that, like Jared Kushner was the one who did push the LGBT.
It's always Jared Kushner with the 3 echoes. They fucking hate him.
Agenda, mass migration. And those were the things that, mass migration was something that Trump addressed in 2016. That's what got the white working class out to vote for him. So there are plenty of votes out there for us to get, but it doesn't come with compromising. We don't get those 15 million unregistered Christian voters to get them registered to vote and out to vote for us by glorifying the LGBT community.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. I don't know why Lauren's so against the First Amendment. I think the First Amendment's pretty great. I also think the Second Amendment's pretty great too, because it protects the First. And these are the things that we should act.
I like that she feels the need to bring up the Second Amendment when defending the First.
Actually be conserving, and we can't do that if we can't win elections. The fact of the matter is, Lauren, that every single problem you have with the LGBT movement right now, from giving hormones to kids, medical transition, whatever, this was all caused by the right losing the culture war 30 years ago when they tried to legislate their religion. That is why we're currently experiencing this today. The only way to come back and conserve whatever it is you want to conserve is by winning elections. And the fact of the matter is, it's not just people like Blaire who vote based on LGBT issues. I am straight as an arrow. I'm married to a dude. Between the two of us, I'm the one that's actually married with the family. And so I will say that I absolutely will not vote for a party that treats LGBT people like they are subhuman. I won't do it. Part of the reason that Trump won my vote is because he does not care. He promotes people. He doesn't promote sexualities.
Okay, so first of all, you're using issues again on me that you don't apply for yourself. So Dr. Carl here was the first one to celebrate me being banned from Twitter. She was so excited to see that my voice had been silenced. So freedom of speech for thee, but not for me. Absolutely. So, disregard that opinion.
Well, I celebrated that you were banned on Twitter because you repeatedly tweeted that my husband should be deported, Lauren. And
he's
now
an illegal alien.
Thrilled. No, he's not. He has a permanent green card. I am now thrilled that I don't have to hear you call for my husband to be deported on Twitter, who has had a permanent green card for the last 6 years.
He came into our country illegally. He broke our laws. He did not do it correctly.
And then married an American. How lucky is he?
He has to go back. He has to go back. I'm sorry,
no, he doesn't, honey. That's not how laws work. It's not how laws work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I have a husband and you don't, Lauren. I'm sorry.
They're in the same room. They're about to throw hands. Jerry.
I'm sorry.
Aww.
You're welcome. Anyone want to respond? You guys can keep going. Keep going. Blaire's like,
Oh, you want me to keep going? Oh, well, I'm in early recovery. So, I've only been clean 3 years. Myself getting in toxic relationships is what kept, me relapsing. So, I'm just doing it with wisdom this time. I'm dating. But my intention is to get married and have children eventually. But I certainly will not be marrying an illegal alien to give him his green card. So, I hopefully will find an American man.
The Trump coalition is going swimmingly after his defeat, guys.
I will find an American man.
Lauren, you'll be pleased to know we had several interviews with ICE, and they blessed our marriage.
Really? Even though he was illegal and didn't come the right way?
Has a permanent green card, honey. Permanent green
Wow,
card.
we're gonna have to reinvestigate ICE.
Oh, they're eating themselves alive, and it's beautiful. I don't know if this belongs in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame or the Hall of Shame. Let's do a poll. Because it's going in one of them, okay? Okay, vote in this poll. Does it go in the Hall of Shame or the Hall of Fame? And no, it cannot be both.
Go to Blaire.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though. Like, we can keep talking about my husband all she wants to talk about him, but the fact of the matter is, my husband ain't gonna win us an election. Votes are going to win us elections. I don't know why we're so focused on these issues that are driving people away from voting for things like conserving the First Amendment, conserving the Second Amendment. That's really what I would like to have the conversation
You don't even like the First Amendment. You don't even like it. So
Okay, let me explain the difference materially. Fame is just killing it right now. But the Hall of Shame is something that is absolutely disgusting and just makes you mad. The Hall of Fame is something that actually kind of is funny and brings you joy. Like, it's like when Caitlin Bennett got run off that college campus by an angry mob. That's hilarious. This is kind of fitting somewhere in the middle, it feels like, because like they're being disgusting, but they're also like fighting each other, which is kind of fun. It's like a kaiju movie where you're not really, neither of the monsters are good guys, but you like to watch them fight each other, you know?
Why are you
Blaire wanted to chime in.
defending it
Let's
when you
cut.
don't
I'm
like
gonna
it?
cut you guys off. I'm cutting you guys off. Blaire, I want to. Blaire, let me hear what you're gonna say.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that there's a little bit of a tit for tat here, but I will say, Lauren, you said that Carlin was celebrating you being deplatformed. I did see that, and I personally disagree with Carlin for doing that. I don't like people being banned off Twitter or deplatformed. But I will say you opened this up with saying that I shouldn't be given a platform and that I shouldn't have a say in the party so I think there's a little bit of it to go around. I think everyone should probably just respect each other a little more.
No, I didn't say you should be deplatformed from your voice. I was saying that you should not have a platform within a party who's...
Oh, so private institutions, parties, and organizations can decide who gets to be a part of them? Like Twitter? Good to know. Fame wins. I guess this is going in the Hall of Fame.
stands for traditional marriage, because that is just opposing itself. It makes no sense. Also, when you cannot deny that your people are the ones that are reading dressed in drag to kids at our taxpayers' expense. And I'm just curious, to what extent am I going to be forced to participate in your fetish or delusion while our children are being targeted for pedophilia openly, So
what are you talking about? There is no connection between trans people and that. What are you talking about?
No.
Yeah, this lady's bad.
I don't want to give a platform to that lifestyle, and those are your people.
Deplatformer.
There is...
Go ahead, Blaire, sorry.
Okay, there is, and I think this maybe is something that you might not be aware of, or people who are not, closer to the LGBT community, knowing the inner workings, that there's actually a huge divide from people who...
It doesn't matter. It's a package deal. It all comes together.
I disagree. I think that there's a huge divide within the community from people who do support things like Drag Queen Story Hour, one of the things I've been very vocal against children transitioning. So I don't think it's a monolith. I don't think any group is a monolith. The same way that the right wing is not a monolith of just people who believe, in a biblical, definition of conservatism, and people who don't. And I think that there's a really big missed opportunity for the right, in the sense that I think LGBT people are actually the best warriors against gender ideology. And and seeing children being read to by half-naked drag queens and children going under hormone therapy at 12.
I've never once in any of the photos of like drag queen story hour things seen one that like was wearing an inappropriate outfit. It might exist. I honestly don't know, but I've not seen it.
Well, I think that people that are from that community coming and speaking out against it do a lot better of a job at trying to stop it than people who are on the outside. Because at the end of the day, Lauren, you could make it part of your platform to be against those things, and even Carlin, you guys could talk about it, but it's simply the way it works. It's never going to be heard as loud as someone like myself or a gay person coming out of the community. And so I think that when you have, I would venture to say, the majority of LGBT people who disagree with those things, when they feel like they can't speak out against it, because what happens is the right will say, okay, you can speak out against it, but you still get no voice in the party, you're still disgusting, you're still a freak. They don't want to, then they end up staying on the left, and it makes it appear as though all of us agree with those things. But in reality, oftentimes we feel politically homeless, like we don't have a voice over here, and we have to pretend to be leftists or pretend to be along with these things because we don't have a political home.
Well,
so again, I think, so I just want to, just one last thing. So again, I think just in general, the overall point of what I think is that you don't benefit from turning people off from voting for you. You just don't.
Okay, well, listen, here's the deal. Your whole lifestyle really opens the door to everything that you claim to stand against. Now, I'm not really sure if you really stand against the transitioning of children or drag queen story hour, or if it's just public opinion is against you. Or if public opinion is against you because public opinion matters. I don't really know what's really in your heart. But when you walk...
Oh, it's really good. It's always good to accuse someone you're debating with of outright lying about their position.
Walk out a lifestyle that introduces that to children. I mean, it's there. It is your people. It is part of, that's part of the package deal. It is spearheaded by the LGBTQ movement. Just because you take a normal stance on something, everybody should be opposed to grown men going into young girls' locker rooms or bathrooms. That doesn't make you special. It makes you normal.
Guys, we're all just trying to piss. We just need to pee. We just need to pee sometimes.
And just because you dress up as a woman does not mean that you have a special opinion on something that everybody should.
And by the way, the opposite isn't... I'll actually explain a bathroom experience in public I had recently, which was interesting. I try not to use the bathroom in public. I think I see myself differently than a lot of other people see myself. Because I don't think I don't get the impression that anyone looks at me in public and thinks, lady. But anyway, I was at my electrologist getting my facial hair removed. It's a long process. I go every week. And afterward, I had to use the bathroom. And I wasn't wearing overly femme clothing. I was wearing like a t-shirt and jeans, right? And a guy walked in and immediately was like taken aback just by looking at me and like was confused, and he backed out and left. And by the way, I was using the men's room because I was like uncomfortable and I was scared about that kind of situation, and I wasn't dressed femme. So I went to the men's room, and he walked in, and like he left, and he waited outside until I left the bathroom. So like, that guy saw me as a lady. So just for the record, having trans women use the men's bathroom is not an ideal situation.
Should oppose.
Okay, so
I'm not claiming to be special. I'm just a person that shares my opinions online. And what I'm just trying to tell you is that it's a lot more people than you think within the community, the LGBT community, that agree with me and think the exact same way, not the exact same way, but on the more radical ideas like children, everything to do with children.
It's all the same.
I mean, you can sit here and you can insist that it's a monolith and insist that we all think that way and that it is a package deal, but it's really not, especially considering gender ideology and how it has manifested now and taken over culture and been popularized. It started well after the existence and acknowledgement of gay people or transgender people. Transgenderism used to be a purely medical issue that was treated on a purely medical basis. Gender ideology that we see on college campuses, and that oftentimes it's communists spreading it.
Did Blaire White just unironically try and say that communism is making kids transition? Jesus.
Came much later. So if I think that they are two separate things.
Okay, so let me I have to move the conversation on because I know that Blaire again has a hard out, and so I kind of want to give Carlin and John a chance to respond to this. So as we're wrapping this up with the big tent, with the idea of the place with gays, I don't want to get your opinion wrong, Lauren. So I'm just, if you can give me a brief response to this, do you believe that we should exclude the LGBT influence from the right wing and reestablish sort of like a Christian party? Can you give me your summary in under a minute?
Yeah, so certainly. In conclusion, the LGBTQ community has
97%,
no platform
not bad.
to have no influence on the
Thanks for
party
whoever put
that was
that
based on traditional
poll up.
marriage. Opposing gay marriage still is our platform. That hasn't changed, but we are going to have to vote on it again soon. You know, are we going to be the party moving forward? Are we going to be the party that compromises on our values that got us this far? Or are we going to stand firm on issues like family, restoring the nuclear family, getting dads back into the home, re-legalizing
And the war on
conversion
drugs,
therapy, which they have
then.
strict parental
That
rights,
would
where
help.
children now can't even go to get therapy if they choose to change their mind while struggling with gender dysphoria. You know, the only path forward with this LGBTQ agenda is stripping parents of their rights. Parents are being villainized for not wanting to transition their children. They're having their children taken away from them. You know, so
I
it
guess
is
you
not
should.
a lifestyle.
First
that
of all,
should be
I don't know where she
included.
thinks that's happening. That's not happening in the United States, that's for sure. But like, what does she think? How do I put this? If your child is adamant that they want to express their gender identity in a specific way and you don't let them do that, you're a dick. You're a dick. I'm not saying, and I'm not even getting into the whole, like, hormone issue or puberty blockers, but, like, yeah, if your kid's, like, trans, or at least, like, wants to experiment with expressing themselves differently, and you're, like, a bigot about it, fuck you? It's just not a big deal.
In the Republican Party. And it's not something we need either. Electorally, it hurts us.
Okay, Lauren, and then Carlin, let me give you, so if, in under a minute, can you wrap up your conclusion on this as well?
Yeah, this is about attracting as many people to the movement as we possibly can. I would like everyone who believes in freedom of speech, who believes in protecting the Second Amendment, who believes in protecting all our individual liberties to come to the movement. And I think it's rather ironic that people like...
Here's the problem. A lot of people on the right don't want to protect people's individual liberties. Individual liberties would include people being able to transition if they would like to. It includes people being able to marry whoever they want, whether they're same-sex or opposite gender couple, whatever. Like, it shouldn't matter, but there are a lot of people on the right who want to authoritatively tell you, no, you can't do that. For religious reasons, most of the time. The idea that the right cares about your individual liberty is bullshit.
Lauren talk about treasuring the traditional family when she was campaigning on Twitter to have my husband of almost 10 years deported. So protecting traditional family, but break up mine. I would like to welcome everyone.
Yeah, she's probably a white nationalist. Are you surprised?
One into this movement, including my husband, who will be starting the process of becoming a U.S. citizen a little later on this year. And when he does, he will be voting in the MAGA movement, just like me.
John?
I think that Lauren summarizes it pretty well. We're not saying that we're going to turn these people away. We're just saying that their issues can't be represented in our party platform because their issues fundamentally...
You can come and help us win elections. We're just not going to do anything for you in reciprocation.
...represent something that is deviant from the traditional American...
That's a pretty good meme.
American society. And these allusions to the Constitution as though it's an argument about religion, I think, is kind of disingenuous because, like I said earlier, Lauren, I think, I mean, speaking for myself, I was against these sort of issues before I really came into the faith. But I think it's important to put that into context, that like when the Constitution was written, you mentioned the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, even the founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson, who would now be considered to be like the most radically pro-freedom of the founding fathers, when he was
the most pro-freedom founding father, who was a slave owner who raped his own slaves. What? What? What?
He was governor of Virginia. He wanted the punishment for sodomy to be the equivalent to the punishment for rape.
That's ironic, coming from a rapist. Because again, Thomas Jefferson, rapist.
Because these were always considered to be deviant acts that were against and went against the social fabric of the nation and the moral fabric of the nation. So if you want to come vote for...
I don't give a shit what a dead rapist slave owner thought about homosexuality at all.
For Republicans nominally, that's great, but you can't have your issues represented because all of your issues, whether that be two men getting married or it's just like it all represents something that is the total enshrinement of equality, which is fundamentally a left-wing idea, and it always has been.
And then Blaire, give us your conclusion.
I guess my conclusion would be that this is all kind of silly. You have half the country unconstitutionally locked down, people dying alone right now.
Oh no! Is Blaire also like anti-COVID restrictions? Oh, Blaire, what are you doing?
People can't go to funerals, people out of work, like the entirety of the country living with almost no dignity. Out of all of a sudden we have lockdowns and just so much stuff to worry about. We're bombing Syria, I can't wrap my head around this being even remotely close to the most important conversation happening on the right or anywhere. And I think that it's also kind of just over. I guess I'm just kind of saying what I've already said before, but Trumpism is the future, and Trumpism isn't, unfortunately, what you've seen with Lauren and with John today. And they're certainly free to advocate for...
See, that's the problem, though, isn't it? Trump had no substantial policy positions. He said vague platitudes about building the wall and lock her up and shit like that, right? Xenophobic, populist bullshit. So it's like reading tea leaves. Blaire can see that and think, well, okay, right wing, but, doesn't outright hate me. And then John and Lauren can look at the same rhetoric and be like, well, of course he hates gay people. He's a Republican. You know what I mean?
Or an increase or a rise in social conservatism. But speaking for a really big chunk of my generation, which are going to be the people running things very soon, and they already are. What Carlin said earlier about we grew up in a time where we were very, very turned off from social conservatism, and a lot of the more radical ideas that you're seeing now in regards to gender ideology, wokeness, it is the pendulum effect of social conservatism. It is. It was, I grew up in a time where when I was 5 years old, I was naturally feminine, getting beat up by little Christian kids in my school. And that was kind of the era that we were in, and things changed and people got disgusted with that. And the pendulum is now to the point where now you have people being disgusted with the opposite end. So
I don't know if beating up a child because they're feminine is the same as, I don't know, being mad at people for being bigots, but okay, whatever, Blaire.
I guess Big Tent Party is the future. Not a huge tent. You don't have to compromise on everything, but you do have to acknowledge the anomalies in people and that everyone's different. And if you're going to be searching for, pure, perfect, ideologically consistent 100% of the time people to only be part of your movement, you're not really going to find many of them. Okay. Especially because a lot of these social conservatives on Twitter that love to talk about LGBT people being excluded, a lot of them are secretly gay behind the scenes.
All right.
So. What?
I gotta cut you off there. That's a loaded statement. I know, John, people want to respond to that stuff. Maybe you are secretly gay behind the scenes. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're super straight. It doesn't really matter. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts below in the comments. We could kind of go on with this conversation
I think that
forever.
would matter.
And I want to let you know something. Obviously, you know, Carlin and Lauren and Blaire and John coming on. This is something that we don't get a lot of. And before I wrap things up, I just want to let you guys know that you can follow Carlin, you can follow Lauren, you can follow Blaire and John. All their links to their social medias in the description. If you hate them, if you love them, please don't harass them, but just follow them if you like them. And I also want to thank them so much for coming on today and for being willing to do what many people are not. If you guys liked this, I encourage you, DM them, comment, start conversations. They probably will block you if you're a troll, but I mean, like, genuinely engage with them and follow them if you like what they believe. And most importantly, if you really liked this, please continue to support this show at blazetv.com/Elijah. It's to get $10 off a year subscription. And guys, we don't know if conversations like this can happen much longer, but it is very important that you help us fight the censorship. We could do this for a long time, and we're going to do this a lot in the future, and that helps support us. So please go to blazetv.com/Elijah. Anyway, thanks so much to Carlin. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Blaire. And thank you, John, for coming on. My name's Elijah Schaefer, the host of Slightly Offensive, the best worst show on Blaze TV. Make sure that you leave a 5-star review for this podcast. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Links are in the description. And it's the most important part about all of this is that in the end, free speech reigns, and that we continue to have these conversations so that we have the right future for the right wing. Have a great rest of the week, and may God...
Should our future fascist dictatorship include trans people or not? Is basically this debate. This debate was, sure, we're all fascy, but do we want to let LGBT people also be fascists with us? What's happening to the right? What is happening to the right? Gotta add this lady to my chud list. I already follow Blaire. This lady's got an Instagram, and I already followed John, so... Ooh, ugly website design. She has an Instagram, though. Jesus Christ. Okay. So that's that. Dare we look at the comments? Fashizzle, a Lizzle says, there's too much estrogen in this discussion. Good lord. Lots of John Doyle stans. This is like kids arguing about whose team they're gonna be on. That's true. There's a reason cords have male and female ends. I often make my life decisions based on how electrical cords work. Why can't I have rights? Well, electrical cords, you see. Wowzers. Bad stuff. Terrible. Entertaining, though, and that will get added to the Chud Watch Hall of Fame, because that's crazy. Oh, I gotta get a screenshot.
Dr.
But yeah, we'll do bits messages, and we'll move on.
Carl here was the first one to celebrate me being...
Lynn,
I gotta find a good screenshot.
that my husband should be deported.
Most vocal. It's, well,
Tell people not to live like you. What you can do for us is grow out your mustache and tell people not.
That's the screenshot right there. That one's pretty good. Where is the Hall of Fame? Right here. Add image, add source, new source. Need to crop this. Is it Alt? Yeah, but I need to see the title. There we go. Sorry, this is going to take a little tweaking. I apologize. We'll still try and keep it separated like this. This is the exciting bit. Sorry. I'm just going to title it MAGA Fight. That'll do. Well, there we go. Chud Watch Hall of Fame. It's filling up in here pretty quick. Not bad, not bad. Bits messages, we got a lot of them. Pseudosapien, thanks for hosting. Shadow Witch, thanks for resubscribing. Devious Chilster says, worst drug trip I've been on was fentanyl, or fentanyl, is that how you pronounce it? Because of endocarditis. Literally for a month I thought I was on a desert island fighting nurses off with my amazing crippled kung fu abilities, and apparently somewhere I made a deal with a vampire that required me to turn into a girl. I'm sad that last part is not true. Fentanyl. Okay. Yasmin Way, thanks for resubscribing with 3 months. Says 3 months already. Love you, Hannah. Love you too. Death Wife, thank you for the bits. Says bits against transphobia just to get ahead of it. Thank you. AW Ghost, mask off. We don't need no stinking masks. Lauren Chen, probably. Bardlock Moses says electoral college is how they'll win the country. AW Ghost 82 says, hey trans friends, I want you to know that you are lovely and valid, and I hope you don't let this toxic rhetoric seep into your self-image. Yeah, fuck these people. I know I have a lot of trans people in my community. Don't let that shit bother you guys. It's okay. We're all valid as fuck. I'm here, you're here, we exist, we deserve rights, and we have the right to exist. Okay? We're all lovely people. Nick says, maybe they should stop fighting the left and fight for our country if they want to be taken seriously. Nah, that'd make too much sense. Nick says, oh, no, party just did that. Bardlock Moses says, every video is cringe except some of the Captain cringe. Thrash Mio says, good, gatekeeping your party and never win another election. Please do it. Abby, my dudes, we have a liberal, a transgender, and one tiny straight who's on thin ice. Bardlock Moses, traditional marriage is a woman being sold for livestock. Porcelain Giant, thanks for resubscribing with 4 months. Nick says, no, Lauren, you stupid frick. Your party started losing because society is in favor of our policies that don't align with your ideals. Also, if you want to make having families easier, stop supporting policies that promote income inequality, you fascist piece of crud. Tucker White, hang on. By what objective measure was Trump promoting a global homo agenda? What is this woman smoking? Yeah, I don't know either. Bardlock Moses says, reproduce. Frick adopting, I guess. Yeah, I don't think they like adoption. Ender92 says, Lauren, quote, you're not a human being, Blaire, quote, I love Republicans, just how? I don't know. Self-hate's a hell of a drug. Andrew Batella with 20 bits says, "This selection was borrowed. This selection was borrowed." Oh, Baja, I don't know if you were here, but I said, if we get to a level 5 hype train, I won't play Danzy for a week, and we did get to a level 5 hype train, so no more Danzy for a week. Nick says, "Natural law, didn't they just use that to justify Jim Crow and slavery?" Yes. Dad Buell says, "The slightly offensive guy talked to Poop Girl and he made a really awful joke about kids with Down syndrome. He's so foul." Gross. Mike Mack says, "Conservative, we are the party of Jesus. Jesus, love thy neighbor. Conservatives, equal rights? Oh, hell no." Nick Snort, thanks for resubscribing for 9 months. That's a stream, baby. The baby's name is Danzy, in honor of my my favorite singer. Danzy Sings is the baby's full name. Devious Chilster says, "Notice how they don't say how we can help people. It's literally about how can we win elections. It really shows where their values are." Yeah. Tucker White says, "By the way, here's a list of anti-LGBT stuff Trump did as president and just the first year and a half alone." Yeah, I'd imagine there's a lot. Nick says, "John Doyle is okay with women because he's a super straight." Bardlock Moses says, "If we only had some sort of Bible study for atheists." That's a good idea. Someone should do that. Tucker White says, "John, none of the arguments against the gays is entirely religious." Nick says, "Lauren Witzke is complaining about liberals using the Bible against her. That's hilarious considering she's using the Bible to justify her beliefs." Yeah. New Monster with 20 bits says, "Ah, yes, big trans." Marcus Drake, thanks for the 50 bits, says, "Lauren won her Senate primary. Was her opponent just the corpse of Adolf Hitler?" I actually don't know. Bardlock Moses says, "I say we leave this planet and nuke it from orbit." I think that's probably a bad idea. Devious Chilster says, Can I just please have a pass to feel bad for Blaire just this once? I actually feel legit bad for her here. She's a person who personally insulted a cult leader because she didn't like seeing him sacrificing people's personal pets upon an altar. I don't know. I have a hard time feeling bad for Blaire. Enlid says, "Yeah, Doyle, but your Sky Wizard didn't include anything about sexual assault or slavery in the 10 Commandments, so not much to stand on there." Tucker White says, "Wow, congrats, Lauren. In a room with Blaire White, John Doyle, and whatever the other chick's name is, you've managed to be the biggest bastard. Seriously, telling Blaire White to, quote, grow out her mustache and tell people not to live like you makes you the biggest piece of crap in this stream." Yeah, she's awful. Enlid says, "I listened to a podcast that debunks Alex Jones, and they were talking about how they actually investigated My Patriot Supply, and apparently the food doesn't even last that long and can easily spoil." I've always wondered about those companies, if it even really lasts as long as they say it does. Also, the right-wing shows seem to always have been that way. Storage, food, guns, and gold. Yeah, it's very strange. They're obsessed with, like, death and the end of civilization. Tucker White says, "Lauren embodies all the worst aspects of Christianity in America. Seriously, I couldn't imagine my mother, who's a devout Christian as you can find, going to someone like Blaire White and saying, quote, grow out your mustache and tell kids not to become you, end quote. Because unlike Lauren, she's not a hate-filled bad word." I'm trying to reduce the swearing as much as possible. Daddy Sume, thanks for the 20 bits. Toeen says, "They keep mentioning Jared Kushner because they don't want to admit Trump is an F-up." Yeah. Nick says, "Newsflash, saving a little person of color from a fire doesn't automatically make you a good person. It only makes you a shit person who did a good thing if you're already a shit person." True. Nick also says, "F your voice, Lauren." Enreith says, "This is the part where John Doyle goes, why am I here?" Reason Ablest Bear, thanks for following. Logarth says, "John Doyle keeping quiet during this fight is the smartest thing he's ever said." We're almost at the end of the bit messages, by the way. I know this is taking a while. Enlid says the only way this could be better is if it was like a WWE and a surprise person came into the debate. Here comes Sargon running in with the chair! Possibly a Lannister with 25-bit says, I am so happy to be experiencing this with you all. Magic Lad TY says, what exactly is Drag Queen Story Hour? They always bring it up, but I've never heard what it actually is. Based on the name, it sounds like a drag queen telling stories to kids, which doesn't seem wrong. Yeah, usually at like a library or something, they'll bring in a drag queen, not dressed inappropriately or anything, but in, you know, a very loud, colorful outfit, and they'll read the kids a story. It's fine. Towing24 says, fingers crossed this is what finally gives the backbreaker to Blaire's Chuddery. Doubt. Bardlock Moses with 50 bits. Neural Alchemist, thanks for resubscribing with 3 months, says, just want to say, continuing a gift sub because you're just the absolute best and should be cherished by many. Thank you. Logarth says, John Doyle literally has to be prompted to say anything. He is the scaredest little boy right now. Steven says, I've repeatedly read that kids who want to transition have to go through a long and complex process to make absolutely sure they want to do it. It's not as simplistic as these chuds are making it out to be. Yeah. Fluidity, thanks for subscribing with Prime for 5 months. 5 months subbed and 5 months on hormones. What? Nice. Nick says, I like to think John Doyle is either super straight or secretly asexual. I don't like to guess other people's sexualities. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, I kind of felt bad for Blaire at the end there. Kinda. She looks defeated. Yeah, she should. Wild Woods Den with 100 bits says, do we need to cleanse? I feel like this could be a decent cleanse. And there's a link. Thank you. Puka the Duca, thanks for 200 bits. Nick with 250 says, Lauren Witzke rearranged his, cute Nazi rule? I don't even know what that means. The first word. Cute? Oh, is it supposed to be a misspelling of cute? Daddy Sume with 20 bits says, yeah, I'm a lovely person who totally shouldn't be removed from power. Yeah, we'll see. You got 1 shot left. Don't fuck it up. You wouldn't get banned or anything. You'd just have your mod powers removed. Having a mod say questionable things in chat is not a good look, so watch it. Hoi Polloi with 20 bits says, valid AF. Lyra Shea with 20 bits says, Hannah, that story you told about using the men's bathroom and scaring that guy out, that exact same thing happened to me, only it was pre-transition and pre-coming out, so maybe it was a sign. Must have been. That XY girl with 20 bits says, are you part of the Globo Homo? For sure. Mathis CM, thanks for resubscribing with 4 months. Steve says, missed the hype train this time, so here's my bits for no Danzy. Nick says, the right is obsessed with the end of civilization because civilization disagrees with them. That's an interesting idea. Reza Sutra, thanks for gifting a sub, and Eroding, thanks for resubscribing with 3 months, says 3 months of giving you Bezos' money. Thank you. Woo! Caught up. Great. Zealous55, thanks for gifting a sub. WC Kawasumi says, isn't it kind of weird that the writer are the only ones that see the little boys in dresses as sexual? Kind of gross. It is very gross. It's very strange. Daddy Sume says, speaking of going in the wrong bathroom, I had a nightmare about going into the women's room and taking a huge stinky poo and suddenly realizing I was in the women's room 3/4 of the way through. That's true. Women also don't poop, so they would have clocked you for sure. They would have been like, what's that smell? Smells like poop. Smells like a man. That was the weirdest part of starting hormones. Not having to poop anymore. What's this? Is this about Nathan Thompson?
Afternoon, lads and lassies, the Irish team.
What did Nathan Thompson do now?
I'm here back with another video, and boy, do I got some news for you. So today I was tagged in a post from Witsit.
What happens to your butthole? I mean, the butthole's still there. It's just entry only now.
About an issue that he and his, I don't know, clone or whatever, I don't know who's a clone of who, Nathan Thompson anyway, have had a falling out. As you guys know, they've been doing the Clown World Tour. Basically, they got into an RV and decided to drive across the country. I call it the Super Spreader World Tour. Anyway, so they had a bit of a falling out over moolah.
I want to be clear, by the way, I watch Irish Demon, who covers flat earth stuff and similar stuff to what I cover, but sometimes I don't always agree with him, let me put it that way. Sometimes he's just outright insulting to people, which I don't necessarily agree with. It's all good and fun to have a laugh, but sometimes he gets overboard on the insults. And secondly, I could be wrong, but I think I've heard him use the R word, so...
But here's
the Ender 92 says I like to call it reverse pooping. Could you not? Could you not call it that? That'd be great.
The deal. Witsit posted this video claiming that Nathan Thompson stole all of the money and fucked off. So I'm going to just play a little bit of this for you. And then we'll talk about what happened after that when I did a live stream with MC Toon and Nathan showed up.
Never going to share to a group. Who cares?
Am I just going to gloss over that joke? Which joke?
A little update. Right now, we are at the shop getting the RV fixed. And,
the South Park pooping episode? Oh, yeah. I remember that. Where they put food in their butt. I remember that. Is this CC's illegitimate son? No.
Supposedly, it's going to cost like $800 to get the RV fixed with the alternator and all this other stuff. So, to replace the alternator and then the labor is like $800. So, we're trying to figure that out, and we're getting them to work on it now. So, if anyone wants to make sure that the RV keeps going across the United States and feels inclined to help, no better time than now when we have to come up with $800 to keep the RV moving. And
it seems like a bad idea to go on a road trip in an RV across the country without the means to fix it if something goes wrong. Maybe I'm just like paranoid and like anxious, but I would assume if I'm going on a cross-country road trip and I'm going to be, you know, using the RV constantly, I'm going to assume something might go wrong and make sure I have the money to fix it if it does.
Majority of the donations that were sent on behalf of the entire tour are, let's just say, MIA. And so if you don't...
RVs are cool. I think it would be cool, especially if like in the future there was actual self-driving cars, so you didn't have to like drive it. But like if Baja and I could retire and get an RV and just spend our time like traveling around the country, going to interesting places and like national parks and different like I think that'd be wonderful. I think that'd be so fun.
Donated money earlier. I hate to say it, but if you didn't donate it to me, then we aren't in possession of it at all. And so it's, if you want to help with the tour expenses, you have to send it to me. Frankly, you have to. So now you get...
Bye, AW Ghost. Thanks for coming to the stream.
Get it? Yeah, it is what it is. So
yeah, it is what it is. And what it is that Nathan Thompson ganked your money and hit the fucking road solo. I can't say I didn't see this coming, man.
We're at the shop trying to get the RV fixed. It's like freaking just under a stack to get it fixed. And I don't have it. I don't want to get into too much details. I'm just trying to take the high road with certain things. Now that we got that covered. If you want to financially support, again, it's Witsit at ProtonMail on PayPal or $Witsit gets it on Cash App.
Or you can support my activism.
Point Command, thanks for the 500 bits. Says, here you go, Hannah, for the RV fund. Thank you.
By leaving a super chat or becoming a channel member.
And if you want to support the tour, again, strictly and solely send the donations to Witsit at ProtonMail for PayPal and $Witsit gets it on Cash App. It's the only way the money will actually go to the RV and to the Clown World Tour. If you send it to someone else, I have no say as to where it goes. Just so you know, it has nothing to do with the RV and the tour.
That's a very long roundabout way to say, please don't send the money to Nathan Thompson because he's gonna gank it. So what are you gonna eat now that Thompson has abandoned you with all of the money?
A word salad.
Don't forget to put that dumbass drizzle on that word salad, boy.
Can I send it to Nathan? No. No. That's my whole point. I told everyone to send it to him, and now we're sitting here with $800 bill for the RV where all the donations that went to the tour aren't going to help fix it. I don't want to get in too much detail because then I won't be taking the higher road anymore. So
Oh no. Nathan legit stole money. That's not good.
So there you...
I mean, legally speaking, I shouldn't say that. Legally, I'm not saying he committed larceny. I'm saying if people donated this money for their road trip and they sent it to him, then it's his money. They sent it to him. But if it was the communal understanding of the group that that was money for their trip and Nathan just fucked off with the money, that just makes Nathan a huge dick. Like, that's awful.
Go. If you want the money to actually go to the tour and to the RV and to the expenses for the gas and the propane and the repairs and the food, you know, it has to be sent to me. I'm the only one that of the two that's even with the RV. So
he's trying not to air the dirty laundry and is trying to take the high ground by basically saying in a very obvious roundabout way that Nathan stole the money and fucked off. And he's like, but I'm taking the high ground. I'm not saying anything. But basically there was two of us. Now there's one of us. And one of us took the money and I'm not that one. So I'll let you extrapolate that for yourself. But I'm taking the high ground. I'm not pointing any fingers here. Alright, so that concludes Witset's side of the story. Now, of the two of them, Nathan being the original, Witset being the clone of Nathan, I tend to kind of side with Witset on this one. I think it's a very obvious thing that's happened here. So what I got from this whole scenario, when I had just heard this side of the story, is that essentially they had both fundraised for this tour, and more power to them. Fair play to them. I respect the fact that they're willing to actually go out of their way to support each other and their community supporting them. Awesome. I don't like what they are spreading. I don't like the fact that they're moving around with no masks on and shit, but you know, you got to give them credit where it's due. But what ended up happening here, it seems, is that basically they got the bill. Obviously, Nathan must have brought in more money than Witset. Nathan said, fuck that, I'm not paying $800, and he bunked out with the money. Now, that seems to be what Witset is saying. So I was eager to hear Nathan's side of the story. MC Toon invited me on to his show earlier. We had a great laugh. And then Nathan showed up in the chat. We weren't sure if it was really him or not, because there is a lot of fake accounts and stuff like that. So he arrived under the name Be The Change, and eventually he actually ended up coming on the stream to give his side of the story. Now, I've been told that I broke a record by triggering him so hard that he rage quit twice in 2 minutes, and then rage quit again at the end because I asked him a question that he simply couldn't answer. A very simple question. Lads and lassies, I really hope you enjoy this. Now, this is a long video. It'll be a fair bit, but it's worth it. It's worth every minute. Make sure, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Enjoy. Hey, Austin, if you're being held against your will, blink twice.
Oh, dude.
Oh, shit.
What, Nathan, where are you? What's going on? I mean, I sent the link. And nothing. I mean, your microphone is according to Zoom, your microphone is working.
Who are these people? These are people who talk about flat earth stuff. They're not flat. These people are not flat earthers. Nathan is, and they're having Nathan on to discuss him stealing money, potentially. Allegedly.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Oh, there it is.
Hey, there he is.
We heard you.
Well, I asked how you were doing, gentlemen. So if you heard me, then that would necessitate a response. Like, I don't know, I'm doing well. How are you? We can carry on the conversation. I know you guys are all shell-shocked. I'm actually on your channel.
In American parlance, in American parlance, when you say how you doing, it's often not actually a question. But I'm doing well, thank you very much.
So you ask people how they're doing for no reason at all?
I generally don't, but people do. It's weird,
of English, but
wow. Yeah. Okay, so now we all know how English.
All right, so
So you guys are saying that when I ask people how are they doing, and I actually am like considerate of how they're doing, I'm doing it wrong. I need to just ask them how they're doing and then not care at all.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Hey,
so
did you guys send me a Zoom link to just interrupt me every time I talk? Because I could have sworn I waited.
What
like
were you
a
saying?
minute
Sorry,
to
what was
talk.
that?
Nathan is like super agitated today.
Sorry, what was
I
that?
waited like a minute to talk.
I'm not sure what you're saying. Sorry, what?
I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good night, all right?
You too.
You invited you on to.
All right, okay, I'll shut up. I'll be quiet.
To present your case, to defend your side of against stealing money from people.
All right, so that was strike one. Instantly bitch made the minute he came in because he said, "How you doing?" and we didn't respond. Generally speaking, as McToon said, when somebody says "How you doing," you don't usually respond by giving an actual, demonstration of how you are doing. You kind of just tend to go, "Hey," It's not an actual question. It's kind of a rhetorical question, or, it's just the way people use English. This guy would argue with his fingernails if he could. But anyway, that's number one. This just gets juicier and juicier as the show goes on. Now, there was a lot of chat before this between myself, MC Toon, and Skeptic Dank. We had a really good conversation, so I do recommend going over and checking that out. Link in the description down below. We actually had a really good time. But anyway, let's move on. I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings, Nathan. I'll be quiet.
You didn't hurt my feelings. You're just a terrible host and a disrespectful
I'm not the host.
There you go, interrupting me again. I know you can't wait to talk.
Moderator.
I'm a bitch.
Moderator.
Quack.
That's a reference to a debate Nathan did a while back where he kept every time the other person was like disagreeing with him and was talking, Nathan would be like, moderator, I think this, and this are not okay.
Okay, I'll shut up. So that was a solid 30 seconds, I think. About 30 seconds, I managed to get him to rage quit twice. It was the... I'm sorry. Just give me a minute. It was the moderator comment that really seemed to push him over the edge of the flat earth at that particular moment in time. It literally just keeps getting better and better from this point onwards. I just can't tell you how triggered this guy gets.
I also don't like how much Irish Demon resorts to being like, they're so triggered. He really likes that. I don't. I kind of find the whole triggered things when used in this context cringe, but whatever.
The arguments between MC Toon and Nathan were awesome, so definitely go check out the full stream for that. It was incredible. But let's move on, guys. This is just amazing. Fuck off. How did I break him twice? What the fuck? He calls me a gamma and then he runs off like a bitch. So after pretending to leave and then actually leaving, he came back with some random YouTube channel that's got 185,000 subscribers, but curiously only a couple of thousand views on each video, but who might point fingers? So that goes on for a while. They ask some weird, like, noob flat earther questions, and then we get back into the conversation about where the money went.
No, bro, I make like $100 a month off flyers. I spend more than that like a week on beer.
The deal we're talking about today is that Austin is sitting there asking people for money to fix the RV, saying the $800 or so that they thought they had is no longer there. What happened?
Okay, so they need to fix the RV, and I'm no longer with them. So what, am I supposed to pay for it?
Why are you no longer with them on the tour?
We parted ways.
Was there
you parted ways with the money?
People donate to your PayPal.
Trouble in paradise?
Guys, I parted ways with the money is what you're saying, right? That's what you're saying. I ran with the money, right?
Well, we don't know. We're asking
All right, well,
for the details.
I'll tell you. Does Austin have his own PayPal and his own Cash App that people can donate?
Yeah, he went over all of it. Yeah, in his
little.
told
people to donate to your PayPal for the tour.
So he was telling everyone to just send me money because he doesn't work anymore. He just doesn't make money. I was in charge of all the money. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it has to go.
Said.
If you're doing like a tour, often it just kind of has one point of contact for the finances, I suppose.
No, wouldn't Austin get his own donations?
I don't know.
My own donations.
I don't know.
and then
Was he suggesting during his videos? I don't.
That's a really weak defense. They told people to give money for the tour to Nathan because Nathan is the most prolific of the flat earthers that is in the group. And then Nathan decides to just rage quit and leave with the money and act like it's his and it wasn't given to him specifically to, fund the tour.
No, because I can't watch it.
Oh, so you don't know?
No, that's why I'm asked why you're here. I'm asking.
You did an entire stream titled Nathan Scams Austin, and you don't fucking know.
I don't think that's the name, but yeah, we don't know. No, we know
it's
what
on the thumbnail.
We know
it's
what
on
Austin.
the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, it is. Oh yeah, it is. So you lied on your thumbnail, and you don't know, and you don't even know. It's like the shape of the earth. You're just lying, and you don't even know.
We do know
That's
though.
cute.
I mean,
yeah. All right.
It cannot be
So you want me
flat.
to tell you what happened?
The geometry is simple.
Yeah.
You just don't understand. You don't understand.
Yeah.
Flat Earth drama is so funny to me because it's drama with the origin point of just absolute lunacy.
Shut up long enough
Yeah, all
for
right,
me
go
to tell
ahead.
you what happened? Okay. So I was getting tons of donations because I've been doing Flat Earth for 5 years. I do get tons of donations, bro. And Austin got striked on YouTube, couldn't go live, and people donate when he's live. So he wasn't making any money. And then he thought all the money I got was half his, which was not the case because it was all mine. So I continued the tour without him. I went to Pensacola. I went to Panama City. And now I'm in New Orleans. I've made multiple videos. He's made Gamma Crybaby videos lying, saying I stole his money. So you guys were right earlier. I'll actually give you credit once in like 3 years. It was very Gamma of him to go on the internet crying, saying I stole his donation money.
Is Gamma like the new beta, but it's like worse than being a beta or something? I'm not familiar with the Gamma thing.
Asking for more money. You're right. That was very Gamma. And I don't think the creator's going to bless him lying, saying I stole his money, because I just showed Jason and Rose on my Zelly account almost $500 that I sent to him, and half of it wasn't because I owed him any money. It was just because he was crying about being broke. And I said in the memo, Yah is good, because he is. The creator is good, and he does love us, and he gave us a perfect plane of existence to live on. No. And I got to constantly deal with trolls and people like you guys harassing me. I'm wondering why you aren't doing something better with your time.
Oh, good. I think this is a very good use of my time here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, making thumbnails, lying to your audience is a very good use of your time. All right, great. Well, you guys should follow me instead of this guy, just so you know.
Nah.
Nah, yeah. Nah.
So can I ask you this though? Serious question though, right?
Yeah, you guys are obviously winning, and I
want
don't know what's going on.
I want to just ask you questions so that we can clarify some stuff.
Is it Twitch TOS to name that particular website that people are talking about in the chat or app or whatever it is? I didn't know that.
Right? Because I think it's only fair that you have your say on this, right? So are you saying that what you're doing right now, your continuation, that is the Clown World Tour, and what he's doing is not?
Well, he could do his own Clown World Tour. I don't care what he does. Bro.
Okay,
he could go.
so
because I could understand if promoting your own profile on that website was maybe against Twitch TOS, but just mentioning it seems weird.
Any money that came in before the separation, that was going towards the Clown World Tour, is that gone with you now because you're continuing your Clown World Tour?
Of course it's going. Any money people send me is going with me, and any money people send Austin is going with Austin. I didn't say, hey,
even
Austin.
if it was for the World Tour.
No, if people sent me money for the tour, I kept it.
Okay, so I asked him that question so that he would confirm my suspicion, which was that he decided to do his own tour when he either left or got kicked out or whatever, I'm not sure. So that would give him an excuse to take the money. So if he calls what he's doing now the Clown World Tour, even though he is not with the rest of the tour, they have the tour bus, they have all the stuff, all of that kind of situation going on, but he's gone off and done his own thing now, that gives him an opportunity to take that money and still save face. That's not going to fly though. We all know that's nonsense. It's just an excuse to take the money. He probably thought to himself, sweet, this isn't going to cost very much. Boom, $800 fee to fix their RV. He's like, fuck this, I'm out of here with my money.
Seth?
Did you pay, so all the money that came in, so some came to you and some came to Seth, right? Sorry, to
Austin.
What's his name? Austin. So did you guys like just share the money and then decide what to spend it on, or was most of it coming to you and you were using your money to pay for the tour, or what?
Yeah, I was using most of my money to pay for the tour. And I was sending Austin money because he was complaining about being broke. And then he went on the internet and said, I stole all the money for the tour, which he quit. So, and I kept doing.
But he's in the RV, not you.
I stole the money for the tour I continued with when he doesn't have a tour and he's not doing it and doesn't have any money. All
But wait,
well,
So is it solo? Are you solo now, or?
No, I got Gio with me, and I'm with Rose 777 and Jason Lindgren. He's on Pro 777 Radio. They got 180,000 subscribers on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell.
Did you disagree about whether or not there's a firmament?
No, we both think it's made of gold. That's why they put us in the Goldilocks zone. That's also the...
What? You heard it here first, folks. The dome is made of gold. We just need to tap into the dome and we'll have unlimited gold.
Magnetic permeability would make sense with the quantum locking.
Why they put us in the Goldilocks
can't stay it when it's new.
It's funny when you talk like that, like you know what you're talking about.
All right, so this is the part that Nathan Thompson got one over on me. He broke me. I could not stop laughing when he said that the firmament is made of gold, and that's why they say we're in the Goldilocks zone. You couldn't write this shit. He broke me, guys. It's made of gold.
Because of the magnetic permittivity. Oh my gosh.
Permeability.
Also, the azimuthal equidistant.
And who cares what people...
Does he not know the story of the three bears? Does he not know who Goldilocks is?
People believe, like you globe zealots, were about scientific observations. I know you guys want to interrupt me, but if you give me a second, I'll tell you about
none
all
of
the
those
STDs.
ever happened from you, but okay.
Flat Earthers have all the STDs.
Yeah, you heard that directly from the horse's mouth.
But
Flat Earthers have all the STDs. What are you talking about? I've been doing it for 5 years, bro. I
measurements-
debunked the heliocentric
measurements
model.
have-
NASA,
measurements
Cape
have-
Canaveral.
You've been doing
There
is
you go,
saying
interrupting
the
me
Earth
again.
is
You
flat.
guys are
That's
so
not.
stupid. Hey, when
you
you're done
actually
interrupting me, let me
interrupted
know,
MC
I'll finish
Toon, but you. Yeah, okay, I'll let you know when I'm done interrupting you. You always use this claim of I've been testing it for 5 years. Yeah, what about all the people that have been testing it for decades who actually know what they're talking about? Just saying I've been testing it for 5 years is not. It doesn't give you that authority to just say I'm right and you're wrong.
Who's been testing it for decades?
PhD Tony.
Wait,
loads of people, literally thousands of scientists.
Saying loads of people isn't
centuries.
answering my question. I
For
asked you very
centuries,
specifically
surveyors.
who has been. No, give me a name, bro. You're talking about all these people
Tony.
who have juice. You're talking about all these people who have juice and who have credibility. I debate land surveyors. They don't know juice. Has been. No, give me a name, bro. You're talking about all these people who have juice. You're talking about all these people who have juice and who have credibility. I debate land surveyors. They don't know how much Earth should curve. What are you talking about, dude? You're just going to generalize and say all land surveyors have juice? No, they don't. I debate them on my YouTube channel, and I make them look like retards.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So are you going to tell me who's...
Yeah.
Are you
George
going to tell
Biddle-
me who's been
George
testing
Biddle
Earth for-
Airy.
Who?
George Biddle Airy. Alexander Ross Clark.
Wait.
Friedrich
George Biddle Airy.
Wilhelm
Okay, George
Bessel.
Biddle Airy. What's his YouTube channel?
Sir
Does he have a
George...
channel?
YouTube channel.
Oh,
Yeah, the
dear.
YouTube channel. That's what determines whether or not they're
dear.
legit is what their
Okay,
YouTube
how do I
channel
view their
looks like.
content?
I'm
How
not-
do I
I'm
view
not
their
done.
observations?
Content.
Sir, hold on.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Irish, let me...
You
Sir,
said they've been testing it for dozens of years. How do I view their
centuries.
content?
Centuries.
These people
Sir-
are hundreds
millennia.
of years old.
Shh. Sir George Everest.
Do you see how they spiral? They can't even answer a simple question.
He listed multiple scientists.
You asked.
You said
Can you
people
stop
have been testing
interrupting,
it for
please,
dozens of years.
Nathan?
Now
I
you're
said-
saying
Can you
that-
stop interrupting?
I said
Nathan, can you stop
centuries,
interrupting?
Nathan. Centuries.
Can you stop interrupting, Nathan?
Centuries. They don't have YouTube channels from centuries ago, Nathan. They publish things the way they published things then, which
So
wasn't
you
on
believe things in a
YouTube.
book like the Mormons do. Wow, that's cool. Are you Mormon too?
What?
Yeah. So
Don't you
This is
follow
getting
a
so
book
off
as
the
well?
goddamn rails.
Actually,
No, bro.
Nathan.
I don't follow a book.
Nathan,
the book I,
Yes, you do.
The book I read
Scientists
says
don't-
test all things.
the
and hold fast
scientists
to that
don't
which is
publish
true.
things on YouTube. Scientists don't do that.
Oh, really?
Scientists
So
publish.
Yale and University and Harvard, they don't post anything on YouTube?
They
So,
do,
like,
but
so
they
there's
post
no credible information
when-
on YouTube. What are
when-
you guys doing on YouTube?
Nathan, listen up. When they post
So
things,
real
when
scientists,
when
so
they
you guys are saying
share,
they're not real
straw man
when they
argument.
share
that is such a
evidence.
straw man argument.
That's not a straw man. You just said real
There's
scientists
a-
don't post stuff
it
on
is
YouTube. So you guys are
That's
real
not what I
scientists,
said.
right?
Hold on a
They don't
second. That's not.
publish
Hold on. Shh. If you could
No, that
stop
is. Now you're backtracking.
interrupting me, please.
Now you're
Hey
backtracking.
Nathan, stop interrupting. When you're done interrupting, I'll talk. So just so you know, what was
I
actually
wasn't done
said is.
interrupting you, so you got to let me
Okay.
talk because you said when I'm done.
I'll just interrupt you
you'll talk.
instead
So
then.
that
Okay.
means that you gotta
So
let me
anyway,
finish
so
interrupting you.
what
Doesn't that mean you
was
gotta
actually
finish-
said is
I gotta
that
finish
the
interrupting you.
method
You said
for producing.
When I'm finished interrupting you, you'll talk. So that means I'm going to continue interrupting you, and then you could talk.
Okay, and I'll
so what
interrupt
I
you
was
back.
saying is that you
hey,
guys
guys,
are on
I gotta
YouTube,
go.
and you guys are on YouTube saying no real scientists post anything on YouTube.
No, I said
But
scientists
that's literally
don't
not what we said.
publish
What
their
you're
work
saying is
on
that
YouTube.
you're not real scientists.
That's a straw man. That's not what
All
we're
right,
saying.
Irish,
And you
Irish,
know
let
that.
me-
You know
yeah,
that.
yeah, Irish.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta get back
Nathan.
to work.
You don't work.
Take care,
What are you
bud.
talking about?
Tell your boss I said hi.
You don't work, Nathan.
Tell your poppy I said hi.
My poppy. My dad doesn't know you. You've never met my
Oh,
dad.
your boss, your daddy who writes your checks, tells you how much
All right,
you make,
well,
and when
see
you
you
can go to
guys.
the
I gotta
bathroom, when you stroke.
Says the guy that literally begs on the internet.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay.
So in case you couldn't understand what was going on with all that rambling, and yes, I was interrupting him on purpose just to trigger him. So don't shit on me for that. But here's the thing. So he was going on about, he said something about scientists, where's their YouTube channel? And I'm like, not all scientists post stuff on YouTube. MC Toon said scientists don't post stuff on YouTube. In other words, they, make proper papers and things like that. Like it goes through a peer review process. YouTube isn't science. YouTube isn't where scientists go to show their work. And then he tries to straw man us by saying, so you're saying that no scientists posting on YouTube? Wah, 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 wah. You know, the usual bullshit that Nathan Thompson gets up to. So then we go on to have a conversation about the Coriolis effect and conservation of momentum. Nathan shows that he has no idea what he's talking about. Go check out the complete live stream. It was awesome. He has no idea what he's talking about. Then I asked him a very simple question, which I'm about to play for you. And it seemed to end him. It seemed to just completely destroy his ability to fight back. Was it really that hard of a question?
So yeah, his question's more about the conservation of momentum in that respect.
So
if you're going along on a truck, right, on a platform at 20 miles an hour, and you run off the back of the truck at 20 miles an hour, you zero out that speed. So what happens once you come off the end of the truck? You stop dead, right? Is that right or wrong?
All right, well, you guys, it's been a pleasure, dude.
Wow, that went over his head.
Right. Wow.
I'm out.
Yeah,
Right over his head.
Did I break you again? I mean, if an idiot like me can break you that easily, damn.
I had other things to do.
Tap out, man. Tap out. That's all. That's okay, Nathan. Just tap out.
Hey, I'll take the win. That's all good for me, man.
Send Rose.
You guys invited me on here to ask questions.
Send Rose back in. She was much more cordial.
She was way.
Yeah, Rose is awesome. Subscribe to Crow 777 on YouTube. 185,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you said that already. You said that already.
You may.
I know. I'm repeating myself just to make sure you guys get it.
I noticed.
Sometimes
Move along.
Okay.
people who are dumb, deaf, and blind, you got to repeat yourself over
Move
and
on.
over and over
Move
again.
on.
So yeah, apparently that question broke him. I'm not sure why. It's not that hard of a question. But just when we thought he was gone and down for the night...
What are we watching? A flat earther drama. The flat earther stole some money from a friend or something.
He came back again. Like herpes.
All right, Nathan, you came back for a reason. What's up? I was about to shut it down.
Did I bait you back?
I was just listening.
Oh. But
okay.
If you're just listening, I mean, you could have done it on YouTube, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah, I could have.
Allegedly,
but I had a
he
Zoom link
allegedly
in my
stole
email, and I was less clicks, and then I have to type anything, and it was super easy.
All right.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm doing a clown world tour all around the U.S. So anytime I could save
You're
time.
still in the chat though, so you obviously still have it open, right?
When am I in the chat, bro? When's the last time I said something? I guarantee you.
Well, I literally just tagged you. I literally just tagged you, so it's obviously still
Yeah,
open.
but you tagging me doesn't mean I'm in the fucking chat, retard.
It does.
Stop
but-
with the
okay.
R
No, it
word,
doesn't.
Nathan.
It means you
It
tagged
does.
me.
No, it means
I'm
you're
not in
there.
the
So if
chat.
I type @B Yeah, everybody try type at B and B the change comes up. So.
Okay, so he claimed that he wasn't lurking in the chat, but he clearly was because I kept tagging him at Be the Change and it kept coming up. Now, in order for the name to come up, the person still has to have the window open with the chat open. That's the only way the name will come up. They literally have to be one of the participants.
I've been considering contacting Nathan to maybe have him come on and have a discussion with me on Tinfoil Tuesday, but I don't know if I should.
In the chat.
Obviously, I would tell him, you know, the R word, not cool.
If somebody leaves the chat and you try to tag them, it will no longer work. So that was a lie. And he didn't fight it too hard because he knew I was right.
And they're censoring the truth.
Of course he's a douche. That's what would make it interesting.
Channels like these guys who talk about me.
Oh,
so
mine does not get promoted. I wish it did.
Why go through the middleman?
Nathan,
just go follow me directly.
Just to be clear, Nathan, I don't know if I've ever covered. Maybe once. Yeah, maybe once only is what I've covered of you. So.
I have.
Irish certainly has, but yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit demonic right now.
Trigger cam.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Irish certainly has. Oh yeah, maybe I wasn't talking to you then, McToon. All right, just shut your big fat stupid mouth then. All right, cool. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Okay. The Phoenicians, the Celts, the Mayans.
Piss off.
How would Jesus feel about the way you talk?
All right, get out of here. You're a douche.
So there you have it.
Okay, so that's Nathan. Nathan being Nathan. Bits messages. Nick says, I can imagine Jesse Lee Peterson yelling Gamma now. Enreath says, Nathan steals your money, then cash apps it back to you with the caption, God is good. That XY girl, your glasses are cute, thank you. Purple Nickel with 100 bits says, this has just evolved into childish bickering. Bon Home 2001, thank you for following. Yeah, saying triggering in that context is pretty cringe. Like, it means a real thing in relation to people with PTSD, so... Oh, did you guys see... Did you guys see this video? This is a trial that happened recently over Zoom in which... And I think we actually watched a Sovereign Citizen video on a previous Sovereign Citizen watch with the same judge in the same... Well, I don't know if it's the same courtroom, but it's certainly the same court. With this judge. This is not a Sovereign Citizen video. However, it's very interesting. In this video, it's some sort of... It's a trial over... Oh gosh, what was it? Some sort of assault. Domestic abuse between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And they're supposed to be in separate houses. The boyfriend is out on bond. And he is not allowed to make contact with the victim, of course, being the girlfriend. And the prosecutor figures out in this video that the boyfriend has come over to her house and they're both video calling from the same house. And the boyfriend is intimidating her to try and, you know, make all this go away. So it's very interesting. Let's check it out. I'll skip to kind of when stuff starts.
We have...
Let's see. Kobe Harris down in the bottom right. He is the defendant, the guy who is the alleged domestic abuser, and based on his actions here, it's just my personal opinion, he's probably guilty, but again, personal opinion. He hasn't been convicted. Paul Gibson here in the bottom middle is the defense attorney for Mr. Harris. Josh Edgington is a police officer who is just here as part of the proceedings. Top left is the judge, Judge Middleton. Also in the top center, just a different camera angle. I'm not sure who David Martin is.
Had
top right.
9 cases set. Thank you, Miss Lindsay and Mr. Harris.
The prosecutor has not arrived yet.
For waiting. We have taken care of our people versus.
There we go. Deborah Davis here in the middle left here. She is the prosecutor who sort of figures this out. After this video, I'm probably going to call it a night just because I got to go eat quickly before D&D and got to get ready for it.
The allegation in this case is that on or about February the 9th in the city of Sturgis that you did make an assault upon Mary Lindsay with the intent to commit great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. That is a felony punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $5,000. You're charged as a second habitual offender, making that a maximum 15-year offense. Who's handling this one? Deborah, are you doing it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Prosecuting Attorney Assistant Deborah Davis is here on behalf of the people. Mr. Paul Gibson is here for the defendant, Mr. Harris. The complaining witness, Mary Lindsay, is here. We are live on YouTube. This is being recorded, and it's...
This courtroom has been putting, like, all their trial stuff on YouTube, by the way. It's actually, I think, is it the judge's YouTube channel? Looks like it. That's pretty sweet. Interesting look into courtroom stuff. Looks like the same prosecutor as in this video. I just want to, you know, take a look at this stuff. It's interesting if you're into courtroom stuff. Guy in the top right. Look at that Zoom background.
It's on the Zoom platform.
Someone wanted a link. Here you go.
Miss Davis, ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Lindsay, could you join us, please?
Yeah, sorry. You're gonna figure it out.
Do you have the ability to turn your camera on? There, can you see?
There we go. And then bottom left here, Mary Lindsay is the victim.
See me?
Have I heard about the woman in England who was abducted and assumed killed by a police officer? No, I haven't heard of that.
Yes.
All right. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. Miss Davis?
Thank you. Miss Lindsay, would you state your full name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Mary Elizabeth Lindsay, Lindsey.
And Mary, where do you live?
My address is 108 West Hatch. Kind of don't stay. I stay at my house sometimes, but not usually.
Is your name on the lease at that apartment?
It is, yeah. My name is on the lease.
Is there anyone else on the lease, or is it just you?
I mean, I think it says my daughter is on there, but no, it's just me and her.
Okay. And on that date, did you come into contact with a Kobe Harris?
I did.
And do you see Kobe in the virtual courtroom here today? And if you're on a phone, if you swipe
yes.
to the right, can you describe what he looks like or what he's wearing?
I was gonna say, hold on. A gray hoodie.
Is there anything else identifiable about him?
Not wearing a hat, and he usually does.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that she has identified the defendant. I think he's the only one wearing a
hoodie here.
Yes.
There's your short sleeve shirt, hoodie thing.
All right, thank you.
And Mary, on that day, was there an argument between you and Kobe?
Yeah.
And are you two in a dating relationship, or what is your relationship with each other on that day?
Yeah, we've been dating, yeah.
Okay. And do you have any children together?
We do not. We both have children separately.
And on that day, do you remember what time you were at your apartment with Mr. Harris?
I think it was like kind of later in the evening. Not super late, maybe like 8 or 9.
And that apartment, just to clarify, is in Sturgis, correct? In St. Joseph County, Michigan?
Yes.
Okay. And what were you and Kobe arguing about, if you remember?
It was just that we weren't, I had said I wasn't going to come back to the apartment, so he was there. And so then, that kind of initially just had started the argument.
And during the course of the argument, what happened?
It wasn't even a very long argument. We just kind of both got really...
Yeah, the defendant's attorney is above him in the middle right. Paul Gibson is the defense attorney.
Angry.
The defense attorney's face when he realizes what's going on here is golden, too. He's like, oh, you idiot.
It's just kind of like an accusative argument, just like, I don't know.
Mary, did the police come to your apartment that night?
They did, yeah.
And why did they come to the apartment?
Because the police were called, so they came here.
Who called the police?
Technically me.
Okay. And
it's interesting hearing the way she talks about this too, because obviously he's in the room. He's next to her, and being asked questions like who called the police. She's trying to hedge her comments. She doesn't want to anger him, so she's like, technically me. What do you mean technically? It was her. She called the police. So it's just very scary seeing her feel the need to, restrain herself.
When the officers arrived, what did you tell them had happened?
Objection, Your Honor. I think that's asking for hearsay. I think when she asked what happened, not what she said that day, because that would be hearsay, what she said that day. It's asking for her to repeat
Your Honor,
what she said out of court.
Okay, number one, Your Honor, I have reason to believe that the defendant is in the same apartment as the complaining witness right now, and I'm extremely scared for her safety. And the fact that she's looking off to the side and he's moving around, I want some confirmation that she is safe before we continue. And that wasn't hearsay. We'll get to that in a few moments.
Miss Lindsay, where are you right now?
I'm at a house.
What's the address?
It's my...
What's the address?
What?
Mr. Harris, where are you? All right, what are you on, a laptop or a phone?
Me?
Yes.
Phone.
All right, I want you to walk out to the front of the house, show me the house number on the house.
Why? I don't even think this phone has the charge for that, sir. I'm at like 2% right now. I'm hooked up to this wall charger right here.
Your Honor. We're knocking at the door right now for Miss Lindsay.
What?
The police are at Miss Lindsay's apartment right now.
That's a quick response time from the cops.
Knocking on the door.
All right. Ms. Lindsay, would you go answer the door?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
You take your phone with you so that I know you're okay.
Hi.
Colby's here.
This next part's pretty darn good.
We may need to adjourn this, Your Honor.
So it appears Mr. Harris is there at that house.
I believe so, Your Honor. We would ask that his bond be canceled.
Yeah, so we'll confirm what we're going to find here.
Officer Edgington, which officer have responded?
I was speaking with Sergeant Marsh.
Thank you.
No, he just hung up.
Yeah, the defense attorney's like, really? He comes back. Give it a sec.
If he is in the same venue that this has occurred, kudos to the Sturgis Police Department for following up on this. Let's see if someone can log in. Officer Edgington, do you have contact?
Mr.
Who am I
Milton.
speaking? Yes, who am I speaking with?
Kobe.
Yes?
Your Honor, me and Mary both don't want the no contact. I asked if that be dropped. I'm sorry I lied to you. I knew the cops were outside. I don't know why I lied to
Mr.
you.
Harris, my advice is don't say anything else. Take the cigarette out of your mouth. The hearing is adjourned. Your bond is canceled. If you have $10 million, you can't bond out. In addition, the prosecutor is probably also going to charge you with obstruction of justice. It may be a situation of you and Mary want the bond conditions lifted, you want them lifted, she does not. We're serious as a heart attack. It's the first time I ever had anybody sitting in the next room potentially intimidating a witness and assault great bodily harm. All right, don't say any more about it. Your bond is canceled. You're digging your hole. You've hit bottom and you're continuing to dig. Officers are directed to take him into custody on a bond violation. Bond is canceled. We will reschedule this hearing for another date. Ms. Lindsay, the prosecutor's office will be in contact with you to reschedule this. Mr. Gibson, I know that was all completely outside of your knowledge or consent. And let's continue this for 2 weeks to my next duty week, which would be March 16th.
He be
Thank you, Your
tripping.
Honor.
If you wish to have it earlier, Ms. Davis, you can contact us. I'm assuming.
This point, and Mary, I will give you a call.
All right, Ms. Lindsay, you're in a very difficult position there. The prosecutor's going to be calling you. I've continued this for 2 weeks. Kobe's bond is canceled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, does that complete all of our cases for the day?
It does.
I suppose we need to arraign him on the bond violation tomorrow.
The rest is just procedural court stuff, which is interesting, but, you know, not something we need to take a look at. What's up with this guy with the American flag background thing?
Good morning, Deborah.
The top comment, where can I donate money so the judge reads my message?
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Autumn? I don't think we're going to see Brandy Hartle or Robert Kindig. They're
More than likely
warrants
not, Your Honor.
for both of them. We'll finish Mr. Saylor, and then we'll make a record on those. I'm waiting for Christine to log in. Or is this just an arraignment? It started out as a felony charge, was reduced to a misdemeanor. I ordered that you do some jail time and that you do our domestic violence anger management class. Your probation officer, Daniel, has filed a petition alleging that you violated your probation. Let me read you that petition. If I can get it. You're entitled to have an attorney to assist you with this if you wish. Your original attorney was Christine and Jordan Yancey.
Flag guy is the probation officer? Oh, God. That's a little cringe, but whatever.
You're outside in the cold, so you can leave it on.
All right, sorry.
This is several files for Jonathan C. Meek, file 2113 Sturgis. I'm going to appoint attorney.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious how... Sorry, I've been keeping an eye on this Kickstarter. Just wasn't sure if they reached their goal yet. How many subscribers is Brie Larson up to? 525,000. She's catching up to Jeremy. What Kickstarter? It's for an independent movie that someone I think is funny is making. It's not a big deal. And it's very particular. It's not even something I would, like, advise you to donate to necessarily. I don't know if the movie will be good. But I like... The guy seems like a nice guy, so I hope he hits his goal. Okay, it's probably time to raid someone. I gotta go get food. I gotta do bits. Mr. Sir Night King Yo says she keeps looking at him. This is so creepy. That XY girl says the lawyer was worried about a separate violation and the police were already there. Well, that's good. Killjoy102 says, wait, so his plan was to intimidate his girlfriend into not giving the court evidence in trial by making her be in the same room as him during the virtual trial? WTF. Yeah, weird. Jeff2K, thanks for following. Daddy Sume with 20-bit says, right here, read this message. Wow! Marcus Drake with 100-bit says, I went down a rabbit hole and have to share. Lauren Witzke did an interview during her run for Congress and said her favorite book was the Lord of the Rings series. It expressed a metaphysical truth via the 3-part story structure. We need more literature like this to help restore traditional culture. What? Von Tux. Oh no, we're on a hype train. I guess we'll raid after the hype train. Von Tux with 20 bits says, I hope Lindsay doesn't catch COVID. Only one of the 2 cops had a mask on. It looked like, yeah, that's a shame. Dingo Subman, thanks for resubscribing for 3 months. That XY girl with 100 bits says, bits for parasocial attention. Hoi polloi with 30 bits. Fashionably late hype train. They always are. So I guess we'll find something to watch for a couple minutes. This is how it's pronounced, says Daddy Sume. Great.
Food rights.
Your registration and
oh, it's that typical.
So, listen, okay,
I can already tell it's that typical
color by Emmy with 50 bits, just contributing to the hype.
I've seen a million times already.
Listen, what is you gonna do? Like, I'm gonna file a lawsuit.
That could have been a Rickroll. If anyone Rickrolls me, they get timed out. So, and if it's a serial thing, they'll get banned. Keirthin with 100 bits says, I would like to suggest Norman Bello for the raid. He's playing Diablo 3. Maybe. I'll have to take a look and see who's streaming.
Never getting listen, I'm never getting driver's license. I'm never getting registration. I'm never getting insurance.
Well, that's funny. Last time I checked, this car was registered.
Ain't none of...
What?
Mitchell Drummer with 160
Look at my YouTube
Hardlock
channel.
Moses with
Police
100.
the Police, North Platte, NE. Look at my YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel where you have turned off all your comments because apparently you don't like having to defend your views.
All right, keep talking. My car is not registered, so what's wrong with you? It's an automobile. It's not a motor vehicle. It's mine. It's private property, and you are trespassing. He's trespassing. Toby Smith is trespassing. What's up?
Okay.
Can I get my notice back? My card right there, my statement. That's my statement that you ignoring, that you don't read. Okay. Do you know what a motor vehicle is? Are you under the color of law? He don't even know what a motor vehicle is. He worked for the police. He got a gun. I'm doing everything under duress. Under the Constitution, I'm not complying with this guy.
Name, so
you know my name. You know my name. You a clown. You know my address.
I don't know your address. I don't know why I would know your address.
Bro, y'all ride past my house every day.
How do you spell Devontae? Okay, this can go easy or it can go...
I'm trying to get a piece of paper. Devonte. It could go easy or not. I will see you in court. I'm not scared of you, bro. I'm finna ride.
He's well on his way to becoming a first name basis for the North Platte Police Department.
Around all day, every day, take my liberty away. That's just gonna be another lawsuit. Bro, listen, I'm taking y'all to court every time. Every time. Do you know what a motor vehicle is? No. Let me talk. All right, go ahead. Talk. Okay. Go ahead.
You understand why we have to have registrations and such?
Listen, that is a motor vehicle code for commercial purposes. No. This is private property. I own it. I paid for it. Did you pay for it? No. Did the police department pay for it? No. Did the state of Nebraska pay for it? No. You are a clown, dude.
You gonna call me names or you gonna let me talk?
Because you are depriving me of liberty right now. You are depriving me of rights right now.
Without paying those taxes.
I do not have to pay any taxes on my property. Right, it's my property.
What's your date of birth, Devontae?
You trying to coerce me and conspire to make me pay taxes on my property. I will see you in federal court. Don't you, bro? Tomorrow, listen. I swear to God.
That XY girl with 200 bits says extra bits for an unrelated question. You mentioned enjoying Mountain Goats the other day during Space Jam mashups. Do you have a favorite album song aside from the Sunset Tree this year? Love, Love, Love's pretty good. What's the other one? Oh, I forgot the name. Broadlock Moses with 100 bits. A lot of the stuff from Moral Oral soundtrack, because that's how I got introduced to the Mountain Goats. Soap making. I'll save this under cleanse for another day.
To the federal court for Toby Smith.
100%.
I'm uploading my YouTube video tomorrow with this car at the federal court. You a clown.
I know, right, Scott? We gotta hit that pacer now.
Say the lyrics. Oh God, what are they? It's basically about although this could describe a couple Mountain Goat songs. It's about a relationship or marriage that's going terribly. I hope you blink before I do. And I hope.
Average guy, the law regulates.
No children. That's the name of the song. Yeah, that's good.
It's commercial drivers, commercial artists, controlled opposition. Can I kick you in the nuts? No. Where is the injured party? Well, if you kick me in the nuts, I would be the injured party.
Don't y'all already watch it? They already called the police.
No, what's your YouTube?
I just said it, bro. Police the police, North Platte, NE. Okay?
Police, North
Platte, it's simple, bro.
Okay.
What else do you want?
You care if I subscribe?
Look at that fucking face for the cop.
Last minute appearance of the kitty. Come on.
I don't care, bro. It's court. The court is for people to understand. Bro, this is private property. It's not a motor vehicle. You are trying to coerce me to make my car a motor vehicle. No, it's not.
It is a motor vehicle based on the state statute definition.
Okay, deprive me of rights then. What you want to do? What?
Well, you're going to get a citation. Just please don't reach around.
No, I'm looking for my keys. Just grab, bro. Come on, man. Why? What, bro? I'm going to the federal court tomorrow. Why would I need to hurt you, harm you, or anything? You is depriving me of liberty. You shouldn't stop me. Why are you stopping me? Talking about a motor vehicle. You see it's no trespassing. You see it's no trespassing on the back. I do not have to have a driver's license, bro. What is wrong with you? You crazy, bro.
Keep that up if you want, but
I'm gonna listen forever. Every day, y'all gonna see me. Every day, I got 2 cars.
Okay.
I got a white Toyota Corolla, and I got this Corolla. Y'all gonna see me every day.
Oh, hey, we're kindred spirits.
I'm gonna file a lawsuit every day.
Okay.
Every day. Y'all depriving me of liberty. I don't want to hear a motor vehicle
I
code.
got one thing to say real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay. You're just gonna keep getting citations. Now I'm gonna
Keep
go
giving
get
them
you
to
a
me.
citation right now.
Keep giving them to
Okay.
me.
Are you gonna sign it?
Of course.
Okay. Let me go get that.
Hey, listen, under duress, I'm gonna sign it. You have a gun. You have ammo. Like, come
Couple
on,
of
I gotta
nerds.
sign
Thanks
it, bro.
For raiding. Welcome, Raiders. You got us in the last, like, 5 minutes of the stream, if that. Welcome. Go check out a couple of nerds and Raiders. I am Hannah. I am a leftist streamer. I cover all sorts of topics.
Backlash against.
So, yeah. Follow me if you'd like.
You got handcuffs. I gotta sign it. This is for the courts. This is going on my YouTube channel. I'm only signing it because he's forcing me to sign it. No one else can pull me over and threaten me
I'm gonna be
and
back with that citation, okay?
force me to sign a citation.
He's like, just go. He's on a roll, man. Just go do your thing. He's just gonna keep on going.
No trespassing. He's trespassing. All of them are trespassing. Fuck is wrong? Every day I'm gonna drive my car, operate my car.
It is his original name was something different when he first came to being. But the current name of his channel is Police the Police North Platte. But he turned his comments off on his uploads, so he got tired of the trolls apparently.
Bro.
All right, hype train over. That's gonna do it for the day. Do you have anything to say to the people, Kitty, before the end of the stream? Ooh, that's a bad eye booger. Gross. No, nothing? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna raid Nicotine. Alrighty, have a wonderful evening, everyone. We'll be doing D&D around 8:30. Hope to see some of you there over on Actual Jake's channel. I'll be back tomorrow for some other kind of stream, I'm not sure. My birthday's soon. You guys can hear me, right? Yeah, okay. I thought she unplugged the thing for a second. It's my birthday soon. It's my birthday on the 12th. I'm very excited. So I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful evening. You're all valid.